Hello, folks. Good morning to you. Welcome. Spoon TV Live. Coming to you from the Temple of So kindly let us know the quality of the audio quality as well. We need you to let us know by giving us a feedback so that we can know the quality of the audio. Just leave a comment, please. Let us know the quality of the audio. Just kindly leave a comment, and we'll definitely continue with this podcast. So our viewers are saying no sound. We are going to do our best to make sure, okay, that we give you sound quality.
Is it sound okay now? It's okay.
So folks, kindly let us know the quality of the audio. Please let us know the quality of the audio so that we can continue this live broadcast from the grounds of the Temple of Justice, where the former Chief Justice, Councillor Gloria Musu, and co-defendants, they have now made their way into criminal court A. I'm here with Haji Masale and Jurassic Joe, bringing you full scale coverage, of today's trial proceeding from the grounds of the Temple of Justice here on Capitol Hill. Jurassic Joe is also here, so we'll give you the history of this case while we're here today. But you see, law enforcement officers of the LNP, they are in a huddle, giving their commands as well, their instructions being given. So men are going to be deployed, at the various entrances and various points to make sure that they do, protect this ground. This is a very, very high profile case. Remember, the former Chief Justice was the fourth person in command in Liberia after the president, the speaker, the vice president, the speaker, and then you have the Chief Justice before the president pro tempore of the Liberian Senate. So she is here today, and this is a very, very high profile case. We all do know that it's unprecedented in our country's history. For us to have such a case, we have someone inside. We cannot report or go live from the courtroom. That is not permissible. So that is definitely not going to happen. But what we can do is we are going to make sure to bring play by play, if you want to call it that way, description of what will be happening in the courtroom there, criminal court here at the Temple of Justice. So the former Chief Justice have spent over 2 months behind bars at the Monrovia Central Prison. She has spent over 2 months behind bars at the Monrovia Central Prison. She and her 3 other co-defendants were put on pre-trial detention on the 21st of June 2023. On the 21st of June 2023, they were taken to the confines of the Monrovia Central Prison, where their lawyers fought to get them bail, and on both occasions, bail was denied. Firstly, bail was denied at the Monrovia City Court because the City Court has said that it did not have the jurisdiction over murder. It did not have the jurisdiction over murder, hence that bail was denied by the magistrates of the Monrovia City Court. And they then took the matter to Criminal Court A, this court that is now hearing the trial. then again, they were denied bail because the court had declared that murder was a non-bailable offense, even though, you know, the defense team had argued. All right, folks, we have done some technical twitching, so please, again, by leaving your comments, let us know the quality of the audio. Please let us know the audio quality, you know, by leaving a comment. Just kindly leave a comment whether the audio quality is good, whether it's great, whether it's excellent. Please leave a comment, and then we will continue our commentary on this live podcast. So my name is Diamond Slanger. I'm here with Haji Masale and Jurassic Joe. We're here on the grounds of the Temple of Justice, right behind, right ahead of me, I should say. That's the entrance the former Chief Justice and her 3 other co-defendants, you know, had entered to make their way to Criminal Court A, that is at the first left turn. So we just want to show you a bit, but will not be allowed entry. So if you enter climbing these stairs, the first entry on your left, that is Criminal Court A. So they're making their way in there, that entrance there, they've made their way in there, and the trial will be commencing. So what we've gathered from the information that we've gathered is that the state has filed for the second time a motion to change the venue. So, but before we get to all of that, let's go back in time as to why are we here. On the 22nd of February 2023, the former Chief Justice Councillor Gloria Musu had informed law enforcement officers there was a break-in, allegedly a break-in, according to her explanation, and an unknown assailant or assailants, you know, had made their way into her home and had attempted to steal, to rob them. And in the course of doing that, her daughter Cllr Musu confronted the alleged assailant, and she was stabbed multiple times that led to her death. When she was taken to the hospital, she was announced DOA, that's dead on arrival. And then the whole country was informed on the 23rd of February that this tragic incident had occurred at the home of a prominent stateswoman, and a Liberian citizen had lost her life from a vicious attack. Councillor Musu and her family members were the subject of vast sympathy and empathy from Liberians, both in the country and in the diaspora as well. And then there was a twist in the tale when Councillor Jerome Verdier, the former head of the LACC, had then, you know, implicated Mayor Jefferson Koji of the Monrovia City Corporation, and we heard the name Valley Tele. The Liberian National Police, after some days of moving at a slow pace, you know, if you want to call it reluctance, invited Mayor Koji and Valley Tele as persons of interest. Councillor Musu and her family members, those who were inside of the residence, were also invited to come and give comments to the police, to give their explanation as to what and how, where and how did it happen. Months passed. On the 20th of June, Councillor Musu and the 3 others that were named were invited by authorities of the Liberian National Police. So we want to give you names, we want to give you dates, we want to take you back, and then we'll bring you as to what this is happening today. So let's go to our notes quickly to give you names, to give you dates and everything. All right, so they were brought, the 4 co-defendants, including Councillor Gloria Musu are Councillor Gloria Musu, Gertrude Newton, Rebecca Yude Wisner, and Alice Johnson. They are the 4 defendants. The most prominent amongst them all is the former Chief Justice of the Republic of Liberia, Councillor Gloria Musu. So there were different, you know, narratives in the public space, the grapevines that this was political, that it was an attack on a prominent opposition figure, some cases, some stories that we heard that there were documents that were wanted and the counselor had refused. So there were a lot of information, and there is still a lot of information in the public sphere. So back to the 20th of June, after months, February, March, April, May, June, after 4 months, the Liberia National Police invited Councillor Musu Scott and the 3 others named defendants, and they were subsequently arrested and charged, kept in detention at the headquarters of the Liberia National Police, which is a stone's throw away from here. On that same day, her lawyers have filed a writ of habeas corpus that she and the 3 other defendants, their living bodies be turned over, and on the 21st of June 2023, that writ of habeas corpus was granted by the Monrovia City Court, and hence Councillor Musu Scott and the 3 others were released. That release was short-lived. The next day, officers of the court went to her residence and served them an arrest warrant. They were subsequently indicted, and since the 21st of June 2023, over 2 months, the former Chief Justice, the jailer, has been sent to jail, and she's on pre-trial detention. So after that was done, the government again, filed for a change of venue. The state has filed 2 motions for a change of venue. The first one was filed on the 2nd of August because the case was then assigned to the August term of court. After she was denied bail on 2 occasions, she and the 3 other co-defendants were denied bail on 2 occasions. They were remanded at the Monrovia Central Prison, where they've been awaiting their court trial, their court date in August, because now we're in the August term of court. So before this whole thing, we're hearing that there will be the motion for change of venue. That is the first argument that is going to be heard and entertained by the Judge of Criminal Court A, Judge Roosevelt Willie. And the state has said, let's go to the first change of venue motion that was filed by the state. So this was filed for on the 2nd of August 2023. Let's get you that, and how many counts the state quoted as to why the state wants a change of venue. In this first change of venue motion that was filed by the state has raised 1, 2, 3. It's a 14 count motion as to why the state wants a change of venue. So we just go through these counts quickly to give you in-depth insight into what it is. All right, so this is why the state wants the change of venue. 1, it's just 3 counts. 1, change the place of prosecution of the Afro-Cllr case trial for the reasons stated above. That the state feels that based on the public opinion, the public perception, the information that has been spread out in the public, that if jurors are selected, they are going to be influenced by the public opinions, by the news, the information, and all of that. So they want a change of venue. That Monrovia is politically charged. They want to take the case to a place where there is not so much noise about the case, that there cannot be so much interference, and so they want a change of venue. But surprisingly, after the state have filed for this motion for change of venue, the state then dropped, they rescinded on this, only to come up again on the 25th of August, 3 days ago, to file for another motion for change of venue. This is the second motion for change of venue. So it reads, and I'm going to read this in its entirety. It reads, all right, let's get that quickly. Let's get that for you quickly. This is the second motion for the change of venue. It's a bit blurred, but I'll do my best to read out what is inscribed here. Okay. So it says, now comes movement, the Republic of Liberia, by and through the Ministry of Justice, that is the plaintiff in the entitled case, entitled cause of action, praying your honor and his honorable court to change the the place of venue for prosecution in the form and manner as shown to rate. 1. That the within named criminal defendants Gloria Musu, Gertrude Newton, Rebecca Yude Wisner, and Alice Johnson were arrested, investigated, and charged by the Crime Services Department of the Liberia National Police for the commission of crimes mentioned herein above. That consistent with Chapter 15, subsection 15.5 of the Criminal Procedure Law of the Republic of Liberia, the Special Grand Jury of Montserrat County, Republic of Liberia, upon their oath and after careful deliberation, found, established, and indicted the within named defendants for the commission of the aforesaid criminal offenses or crimes. That movement says and avers that since the gruesome murder of Cllr Musu on the 22nd of February 2023, the case is being discussed publicly and critically within Montserrat County, to the extent that almost every media outlet, print or electronic, has been discussing the merits of the case, which is yet to be tried. Count 4. That Moven's application and or submission for a change of place of venue of the prosecution is in line with Chapter 5, subsection 5.7b of the Criminal Procedure Law and the statutory laws of the aforesaid republic. Wherefore, and in view of the foregoing facts and circumstances and the legal citation stated supra, Moven must most respectfully praise your honor and his honorable court to change the place of venue of prosecution of the aforesaid for the aforesaid reasons stated above. So the reason is that the prosecution, the state, the all-powerful state that has got all of the resources available to it to go to the trial, and win a case with all of the evidence, the forensic, the material witnesses and everything. The state has said that based on how vastly and how widely this case has been discussed, not just by citizens but by the media, they said it has already put this trial at risk. So they want to take this case to somewhere else where there hasn't been so much of public, speculation, so much of news, so much of verdicts from the court of public opinion. But then you ask yourself this question: where in the Republic of Liberia this case has not been discussed? Is it a deliberate attempt by the state to delay these trial proceedings? Is it a deliberate attempt by the state to weaken witnesses who are to testify, to say, okay, if they take this case to, like in the Hans Williams case, the case was taken to Bombing County, doing the case involving the late journalist Tyrone Brown. That case was taken to, Bombing County, and witnesses still made their way there. The media still made their way there. Where, if this change of venue motion is granted by George Roosevelt Willie, where will this prosecution trial be, taken to? But the question again is the state doing delay tactics, or there is merit in what the state is saying? But again, is it going to be a jury trial or a bench trial? If it is a bench trial, then you wouldn't have to worry about the reasoning of the judge, because he is deemed as a professional, as an expert, and public opinion is not going to weigh in that matter. He's going to look at the evidence, deduced to him. He's going to listen to material witnesses and all of that. So for a bench trial, there seems to be not so much of a risk. But if this is a jury trial, then the state is saying even jurors that will be selected will be impacted negatively, some way, somehow, by what is being said in the public. So hence the state wants a change of venue. So let's go to our persons in there to know what's the latest unfolding. So earlier, Councillor Musu Scott and the three others arrived. She was wearing a purple dress, same dress that she wore when she arrived at the the headquarters of the Liberia National Police. That's the same purplish dress that she wore. They were wearing the jacket of the Bureau of Corrections. Here on the back had corrections, navy blue jacket. She had black hair tie, and she made her way into criminal court A. So let's bring you updates from what is happening there in criminal court A. What we can tell you for sure is the motion for a change of venue of prosecution will be the first thing that will be heard by the judge. So now we've been reliably informed that the case has been called to order. So what is happening in criminal court A right now, we'll be giving you as real-time information as it unfolds, is that the case that is the Republic of Liberia against Gloria Musu, Ude Wisner, Rebecca Ude Wisner, and the rest, that case has been called to order. So the former Chief Justice and two other defendants, they had handcuffs on their hands. So the last time they came for their bail hearing, she was not handcuffed. Today, there is a change. We've been reliably informed that the former Chief Justice and her co-defendants have handcuffs on, and the cuffs now have been removed. Since they're in open court, the cuffs have been removed. That is what we've been told. We're getting to know what her demeanor is. She's sitting quite quietly, attentively, sitting on what we term in Liberia here as the prisoner's bench. That's where she's sitting, on the defendant's bench, if you want to call it that way, but here we refer to it as prisoner's bench. That's where you sit in the court. And according to one of our sources, the older person, that is Madam old lady Rebecca Ude Wisner, we've been informed that she doesn't look so well. She looks frail. And remember, when the lawyers representing Councilor Musu Scott and the three others, when they filed for bail bond to be granted them, these were one of the counts that they stated that the old lady Rebecca Ude Wisner needs medical attention, that cannot be given her at the Monrovia Central Prison, and that the former Chief Justice is a prominent citizen and she's not going to abscond, she's not going to flee the bailiwicks of our country, and that she also needs medical attention, and they cannot get such attention at the Monrovia Central Prison facility. But all of those reasons were quashed, and hence they were denied bail. So the case has now been called to order. So we'll give you more information as it filters in. We're live here on the grounds of the Temple of Justice. We want to take you around. As you can see, police officers carrying tear gas, canister guns, they're seated here. This is just a part of their deployment. We want to take you all around. They've been deployed at various points because, again, this is a very, very high profile case. We've seen the likes of former Associate Justice Kabinan Jane also forming part of her defense team as well. We've seen Councillor Jimmy Mbombo also part of her defense team. The state Councillor Lafayette Gu is also there. Remember, Monserrado County has also gotten a new county attorney as well. So this case, for the first day of this trial, all of what we've been hearing, all of what we've been talking about is all been pre-trial formalities. The actual trial begins today from a well-marshaled Temple of Justice here. Diamond Slanger, Haji Masale, Churasi Joe here on behalf of the Spoon Network. The Musu family, the Scott family, we've not been able to make our way, but we're getting more information as to who are those present in court. So we'll be getting information back and forth to you. This is what we're going to do during this entirety of today's hearing as well. We will not be going off. We remain live throughout to bring you information as well. So the latest information from the court is that the case has been called for hearing. So that assignment was made. Let's get you the date that the assignment was actually made for this case to be heard today. So this is the date for the assignment. So the assignment was made on the 21st of August. That was when the assignment for this particular hearing was made at Criminal Court A. It was done on the 21st of August 2023 at about 10:45 a.m. So you have co-defendants, Councilor Gloria Musu Scott, Gertrude Newton, Rebecca Ude Wisner, Alice Johnson, all of the city of Monrovia. During her bail hearing, one of the bail hearings, the former Chief Justice also formed part of her legal team, and folks were concerned. For some, it was the first time to have heard such. She has not been convicted of any crime. She still has got her accreditation as a lawyer of the Supreme Court of the Republic of Liberia. She can defend herself until all of such rights are stripped from her. So whether or not today again she's going to form part of her own defense team, and she's going to ask questions, as the first thing that will be done this morning in the Criminal Code A will be the hearing of the motion for change of venue of prosecution, and which venue is the prosecution going to suggest to the judge as well. This is not strange. As I said, there can be change of venues if the judge, from the arguments of both sets of counselors, that is the plaintiff, the prosecution, and the defense counsels, based on the arguments heard, based on whatever reasoning that is given to the judge, if it is deemed as good enough, if the judge finds that as in beyond all reasonable doubt that these factors and circumstances stated by the state is going to affect the trial, then the judge is going to grant them the motion for a change of venue. But if the judge, having heard from both counsels, then decides that this doesn't weigh on the case beyond reasonable doubt, this is not going to affect the case as well, so let the trial be held in Montserrado County. That is the thing. Remember, if the change of venue motion is granted, the defendants are going to be transferred. They are going to be transferred from the Monrovia City Central Prison to whichever prison facility is available in the county that this trial is now going to be transferred to. So let's assume Bomi, they will have to go to Bomi. Let's assume Grand Jide, they will have to go to Grand Jide there at this Virgil Correction Palace. That's where they'll have to be. If they send them to River G, the same. Whichever county, Maryland, the same. The defendants will have to be transferred. That means their support system, their family members, their legal counsel, and all of these will have to move to where the trial will be held. That is if that motion is to be granted. So let's go back for more information. We will be back and forth with our folks there in Criminal Code A to bring you real-time information as to what is unfolding there in the Criminal Code A here at the Temple of Justice.
fear I won't go down so people can go to trial not last month.
So we still remain posted here at the Temple of Justice, right in front of the main entrance, leading to several courtrooms, including that of the highest court in our country, the Supreme Court of the Republic of Liberia, and the court that has got the most talked about case so far in the Republic of Liberia is Criminal Court A here at the Temple of Justice. As we speak to you, the former Chief Justice of the Republic of Liberia, one-time Senator of Maryland County, a legal luminary, an astute stateswoman, if you want to put it that way, has been put on trial. All of what we've been saying before, as of the 21st of June up to today, they've all been pre-trial formalities. The actual trial hearing date is day number 1 today. The assignment was made on the 21st of August 2023, and today, the 28th day of August 2023, they are there in the courtroom of Criminal Court A. The case is the murder trial, criminal conspiracy, and making false statements to law enforcement. Those counts listed in the indictment against the former Chief Justice and 3 other co-defendants, by the Republic of Liberia through the Ministry of Justice. So we will be bringing you updates. As we said, Councillor Musu Scott and the named co-defendants arrived about 15-20 minutes ago, wearing their corrections jackets. She's wearing a purplish African print dress. She's got her head tied with black head tie, as she has been wearing since the death of Gloria Musu. The old lady has also, Rebecca Yuda Wisner, has been said to be frail looking as well by those in the courtroom. For us, that's the old lady has also been said to be frail, but we'll be giving you more and more information as it filters in. So basically, whatever that will be unfolding there in the Criminal Court A, we will be giving you that particular happening. So we're waiting on more information to filter in, but the grounds here well marshaled by officers of the Liberia National Police. From what we've gathered, they from the Police Support Unit, the PSU, they in their riot gears. They've been deployed around the grounds here of the Temple of Justice. Before coming on live, we also took a tour. Benches are being used as barriers, to block various points, because again, this is a high profile case. This is a very high profile case. Remember, the former Chief Justice presided over all of this. She presided over all of this. The entire judiciary was under her gavel at the time. She also served in the legislature, which is just up my back. Right behind me is the legislature. So here on Capitol Hill, we've got the concentration of our government functionaries. You have the executive just across the road from here, you have the legislature adjacent the judiciary, and then you have the judiciary just right here. So you can jokingly say the Chief Justice can just take a scroll, and go to the President's office and be back. The Senate Pro Tempore or the Speaker of the House of Representatives can take a walk and come here, at the grounds of the Temple of Justice. So we have our 3 main government functionaries, the 3 branches of government, just concentrated in the smallest radius. So it's just a small radius if you look at it, as well as other line ministries and agencies as well. So while we are awaiting information to come in from Criminal Court A, we'll just keep talking about this case, how we are here, how come we here, how so far it has been. Yes, and it has been over 2 months since the former Chief Justice, was taken from her home. Spoon TV did carry that event live. She and the 3 other co-defendants were taken from their home. They drove with the sheriffs, came here to the grounds of the Temple of Justice, were taken into the Monrovia City Court, where their indictment was read, and they were subsequently taken to the Monrovia Central Prison, where they've been since over 2 months. Many thought that this trial would have dragged on as to how soon were we going to get an assignment date for the actual court case to begin, aside from all of the pre-trial formalities and remedies that were being sought by the defense team in the guise of getting a bill for the former Chief Justice and the 3 others. The defense team also argued that this indictment is a blanket indictment. It has not specified who committed the actual murder, who was the one that stabbed Cllr Musu multiple times. The defense has also been saying that the state has not said who it is. They only said that, okay, one of the co-defendants, said she allegedly took the knife from the alleged perpetrator, and then the knife was wrestled back from her, and then Cllr again was stabbed multiple times. So all of what we've been hearing so far, and the state has been keeping its evidence tightly. We've not gotten whether DNA fingerprinting was done, whether forensics were done, but what we've heard so far is eyewitnesses. The state is relying on eyewitnesses accounts. So what would be the defense strategy as well if this motion for change of venue for prosecution is not granted and we move to the next stage? Because this is what is going to happen today. After that motion has been read, if the judge is going to give his ruling on the motion today, or whether or not the judge will say, okay, we have to go through this and we'll come back to another date for the ruling on the motion. So this case has just begun, but we still have a long way to go. So we'll keep inquiring for more information. We keep trying to get more information from people within the courtroom. That is why we're here today, to not just give you a commentary on how and why we are here, but to give you what is happening within Criminal Court A here at the grounds of the Temple of Justice. So our information is a bit delayed, but we're doing our best to get you all of the information. So Haji is going to take you on a tour around, and I'll be getting more information for you.
Okay, we are stationed here on the grounds of Temple of Justice. So Damon wants to take a breather, but I will give you this tour of the grounds, and we have somebody stationed in the courtroom giving us all the information as to what is happening in court. So just as the information comes, Damon will certainly read it out to you, play by play, concerning this entire murder trial.
Folks, as we said, we will be giving you real-time information, though a bit delayed, but we'll be giving you information as well. So what we've been told by one of our sources within Criminal Court A is that the court has just denied an appeal from the defense counsel for the autopsy and revisitation of the crime scene. So the defense counsel is saying they want a new autopsy done on the remains of the late Cllr Musu. Remember, she has not been buried since this incident occurred on the 22nd of February 2023. So her remains is still in the morgue as well. So the defense counsel just asked, according to one of our sources, for a new autopsy to be done and for the revisitation of the crime scene. So they are now on the change of venue issue. So that was the first that the defense wanted and asked and prayed the court for a new autopsy to be conducted on the remains of Cllr Musu, the late Cllr Musu, and for a revisitation of the crime scene as well. Those two counts have been denied by the judge. So they are now on the hearing of the motion of the change of venue that was filed for by the prosecution, that is the state, by and through the Ministry of Justice as well. So they've now on the motion for the change of venue for the prosecution. So that was just information we wanted to share with you as well. As we said, we'll be giving you information. So the defense had wanted the judge to, grant them the authority to revisit the crime scene and as well to conduct a new autopsy because apparently they do not believe whatever reports that were given, whatever findings that were given by the autopsy that was conducted by the Ministry of Justice. And the revisitation of the crime scene is also to establish
just
when how preserved was the integrity of the crime scene after all of these months as well. But the judge has denied that particular view, and they are currently on the prayed for by the state lawyers. So what is going to be here live on the grounds of the Temple of Justice. And one of our viewers will ask, why are we not in the court here? It's against the law until people can be allowed to. And I'm going to establish by the coverage unless that would have been granted by the judge after the motion filed either the prosecution or the defense. There's an agreement with the judge of rules that will define because this is a case of national interest based on one of the because the Chief Justice of the Republic of Liberia has just arrived.
use the other mark. Yeah, one. It's complete. So would you stand right here? Okay. Okay.
All right, folks. So again, we're doing our best. Technical adjustments as well. So please let us know the quality of the audio. Please let us know the quality of the audio. All right, folks. So please let us know the quality of the audio as well. We will keep adjusting, tweaking, and retweaking, and whatever it is to give you the best quality video and audio quality from the grounds here of the Temple of Justice, Monrovia, Liberia, where the trial of the former Chief Justice of the Republic of Liberia, Councillor Gloria Musu Scott, and 3 other co-defendants.
So judge go inside. Neto or
So please let us know the quality of the audio. We'll keep working on that. We'll keep working on the quality of the audio. Please do let us know the quality of the audio as well. The technical guys will be working on it to make sure that we give you the best audio quality. So please let us know the quality of the audio. Feel free to comment, let us know, so that we as well can make sure that this broadcast is at its best. So we're waiting for more information. We are waiting for more information to filter in from the criminal court A.
Okay, we will appreciate if you can leave us a comment on the status of our audio, and even see here the video is okay because we are monitoring the stream, but as for the audio we cannot tell clearly as to how our audio output is, but you can keep feeding us with information on the quality of the audio. We are seeing here no sound, Diamond, so we want, sorry about that.
Alright folks, keep letting us know the quality of the audio so that we can continue to bring you this live broadcast. We will be monitoring ourselves to make sure that we give you our best. Alright, so new information. So each team, that is the defense and the prosecution, has been given 10 minutes by Judge Roosevelt Willie to argue the merits and demerits of this motion filed by the prosecution for the change of venue of this particular trial. So 10 minutes allotted to each team, that is both the defense and the prosecution. So we'll be giving you more information. They are currently arguing on the motion filed by, this is the second motion filed by the state. The first was filed on the 2nd of August, and the state rescinded that particular decision, for their request for a change of venue. And then the state again, filed a second motion for the change of venue of this trial as well. So the first was filed, so the second was filed on the 25th of August 2023, and the first motion filed by the state for a change of venue was filed on the 2nd of August. So after the state had filed for the first one on the 2nd of August, they waited 23 days after to file a second motion for the change of venue of the prosecution. And this assignment for this case was also made on the 21st of August 2023, and hence they are currently here. So more updates will be giving you from Criminal Court A, Monserrado County, here on the grounds of the Temple of Justice, where the former Chief Justice and 3 other co-defendants, the most powerful lady within the judiciary during her time when she served as Chief Justice. She also served as Senator of Maryland County. She has also served various government agencies as well, including the Constitution Review Commission. Let me get that information right as well, because we have a biography. We'll give you a bit of who Councilor Gloria Musu Scott is as well. She also served as let's get you that information. Yeah, so she served as one time as a prosecutor at the Ministry of Justice. So she began her journey through the judiciary by going to the Louis Arthur Grimm's School of Law, and where she attended evening sections from 4:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. She graduated from the University of Liberia. She attended. She was a clerk. She was a bookstore clerk at CWA, that is the College of West Africa, a prominent school in Liberia. She got a degree, a Bachelor's of Arts degree in economics, with a minor in management in 1982. She enrolled at the University of Liberia in 1975 and got her degree in 1982. She also had her Bachelor's of Law degree in 1986. So 4 years after getting her BAs in economics with minor in management, she then enrolled in the Louis Arthur Graham School of Law and got her Bachelor's of Law degree in 1986. So she worked as a bookstore clerk at the CWA. That was what paid her tuition, according to the biography information that we have here. She also at one time worked as a full-time employee at the Ministry of Public Works, and then she was awarded the position of administrative assistant in charge of managing logistics and supplies for the road maintenance department of the Ministry of Public Works. That was at the same time she was working, she was attending the Louis Arthur Graham School of Law. So she also served as a prosecutor. She also served as a prosecutor here at the Ministry of Justice. Her first major case was to prosecute defendants who gang raped and murdered the late Esther Parker, so a resident of the Stephen Turbot estate. The government of Liberia obtained a guilty verdict in the 11th Judicial Circuit Court of Bombing County in 1989. So her first case as a prosecutor was a case that involved the late Esther Parker, who was gang raped, and that was in 1989. So she remained and returned at the Ministry of Justice as Assistant Minister for Administration in 1991. So from a public prosecutor, she was then, elevated to Assistant Minister at the Ministry of Justice for Administration. She was later appointed as a judge. So she also has served as a judge at the Monrovia Monthly Probate Court for Montserrado County by Dr. Amos Sawyer, the late, president of the interim government at the time. It was during the same time that she observed the legal discrimination against widows married under customary laws. This observation motivated her to invite other female lawyers, and they formed AFL. So she's also a founding member of the Association of Female Lawyers in Liberia. So she's also a founding member of AFL and served as its first president in 1994. So when you see AFL lawyers also here, forming part of a defense team, is because she and her colleagues formed the Association of Female Lawyers of Liberia, AFL, in 1994, and she served as that body's first president. So after the April 6th fracas, she was appointed Justice Minister, and that year she became the Ad Hoc Elections Commission Chairman in 1997. So people have argued whether or not she served as chairperson of the NEC. She did. In 1997, she served as the chairperson of the Ad Hoc Elections Commission, and she was later named as a member of the Independent Elections Commission, which conducted the 1997 elections. So before the Independent Elections Commission that was headed by the late G. Henry Andrews, she served as chairperson of the Ad Hoc NEC. And then when it was named the Independent Elections Commission, where the late G. Henry Andrews served as the commissioner at the time, she was a member, of that committee as well. And after the elections and the restoration of Constitution, Councillor Scott was appointed Chief Justice. So it was after the 1997 elections, which was won by the former President Charles Gange Taylor. She was then appointed as Chief Justice of the Republic of Liberia. She served in that position in 2005. So she served in that position until 2003. So from 1997 to 2003, she served as the Chief Justice of the Republic of Liberia. In 2005, she was elected as Senator of Maryland County, and she held that position until January 2012. So she was then appointed as the chairperson of the Constitution Review Committee by President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf in August of 2012. So that's just the brief history or biography of the former Chief Justice, who is currently on murder charges, including conspiracy to commit murder and making of false statements to law enforcement. So it beats the mind as to why, with such a person with such wealth, legally, experience, and all of that, be a party to such a case as well. There's speculations in the public layer that she knows something and she's keeping that information, she's concealing somebody, she's hiding, something that she knows. And so, depending on which side of the aisle you find yourself, there is a different reason as to why this is happening. But since this is now before a court of competent jurisdiction, as of now, the matter is being handled by the laws of the Republic of Liberia. So we're still waiting to get more information. 10 minutes each afforded to defense and prosecution to argue the prosecutions. That is, the prosecution is the movement. The movement in this case is the prosecution. The prosecution's petition, their motion for a change of venue of this trial. Their reason for the change of venue is that, based on the vastness of how this case has been discussed in the public opinion, what has been said is going to influence how this case is going to be heard. They didn't mention security. They didn't mention security in their motion for a change of venue. Their second motion of a change of venue, because the state has got all of the resources to secure everywhere to make sure that this trial goes on without any interferences. So the state has said, based on the level of which this case, has been discussed in the public and by the public, it has also put the case as risk, and hence they want to have this case heard in a place where there is not so much public opinion, public discussion as well. But again, this is a case of national concern. This is a case of national concern, and it has been discussed every part of the country. You might argue that in some parts, like Montserrado County, there's so much information filtering about, there has been so much discussion as compared to other parts of the country. But what would the defense be saying in their motion, that in their argument that this motion shouldn't be granted by the judge? That is what we're trying our best to get from you as well, as of what is unfolding there in Criminal Court A. So let me step back a bit and try to get more information to share with you. We'll just be showing you pictures around, and we'll get you the information from the court.
So as the information comes, we will give it to you in real time. Earlier we started this live when the former Chief Justice and the three others arrived, but we expected them to arrive at the basement. That's what we were told. So we set up our team at the basement, but surprisingly they came through the main entrance here, because Criminal Court 8 is situated right in the main building housing the Supreme Court. So from the Supreme Court, the first court is the Criminal Court A. So there where the trial is taking place. That's why we earlier went at the basement where we expected the former Chief Justice and others to arrive, but surprisingly they came through the main entrance. So we were just in time when the team arrived with her, and we started the live. We started rolling red as you saw her and the old lady. They're walking to the criminal code A. But we have our reporter situated or positioned in the court. He's feeding us with all the necessary information as the trial is going on. He reported that 10 minutes each were given to the defense and the prosecution, so the argument is ongoing. So whatever development coming out of the argument will be given to you in real time. So this is the Temple of Justice. You can see the place, not too many people here because the Chief Justice arrived, Councillor Yo, and she ordered the guys on the ground to clear this place of too many people lingering around here. So you can see only people who have kids court assignments are the ones here on ground. So you see people moving around. It means that they have serious matter and they are going to court, coming out of court and doing other things important to what they are here to do. But Damon has some emerging development from the courtroom.
Yeah, Haji. So, as thank you again for the continuation of the commentary. As we said, we remain live from the grounds of the Temple of Justice. We'll continue to remain live until this trial is concluded today. This hearing is concluded today as well, and we'll do that through the entirety of this case, whether or not the venue will be changed from Montserrado to another county. So before coming on air, we were speaking to some authorities within both the judiciary and the corrections, sector of our country, Haji. And we were inquiring whether or not the former Chief Justice has been given preferential treatment, at the Monrovia Central Prison. That was flatly denied. That was said when we questioned some corrections officer. We're not going to mention their names. We want to keep our sources, in confidentiality. They said that no, in fact, the former Chief Justice is being kept in the maximum security division of the Monrovia Central Prison. You would think that someone of such records, someone of such stature will be treated differently, but they've said no, it's not the case. In fact, what we've been told by some of our sources within the corrections sector working at the Monrovia Central Prison is that the former Chief Justice's cell is almost around the bathroom area. Like someone said when that corrections officer revealed that, again, that is unsubstantiated, but the person works there. We cannot say that's a fact for sure, but it's a claim. That's what the person told us, that her cell is the closest to the bathroom. And someone jokingly said that's to add whatever punishment there is to the former Chief Justice, and that she's not treated with in any preferential way at all. That's what we were told. That she's being kept in the maximum security section of the Monrovia Central Prison that we know in Liberia as South Beach, and she's treated like any other person, and she's not granted or given any slacks as well. But to keep on giving you updates from the court, the arguments are still ongoing. The defense team is arguing that the venue shouldn't be changed.
So usually when we hear about someone be placed in maximum security or detention, we just believe that this person has been given preferential treatment. The person has been cared for, and the person has been treated differently, apart from the other prisoners. But we have come to the reality that this treatment means that you are on high alert.
Yes,
you are
deemed a serious risk.
You are at serious risk, so they don't want to jeopardize anything. This is what we have come in terms with today.
Yeah, so as Haji rightly put it, our reason for asking that question was to find out whether or not the former Chief Justice, as per the positions that she occupied, I just read a portion of her biography to you, that there will be some slack, cut and say, okay, based on that, so you get things that others don't have. But we've been told flatly that no, in fact, murder, if you charge with murder, you deemed as a threat not just to yourself but to other prisoners as well. And she's being kept in the maximum security section. Remember, in other countries they have maximum security prisons, they have minimum security prisons as well. In Liberia we don't have such distinctions because we just have one prison facility per county, and they're divided into different sections. So we've been told that the former Chief Justice is being held or kept in the maximum security section of the Monrovia Central Prison. So the defense counsel has argued that it will be a waste of resources and the defendant by keeping the defendants in jail for too long for no reason. So the defense counsel is saying that look, this whole motion to change this venue is going to be a waste of resources because now you have to transport people from one point to the other. There's no need for this. The case should be heard here. It's a delayed tactic being employed by the prosecution, and hence they're praying the judge not to grant the state their motion for a change of venue. So we're getting the points being argued. So the defense counsel is on the floor arguing their 10 minutes allotted them by His Honor Roosevelt Willie, Judge of Criminal Court A. So they're saying that look, this whole change of venue thing is going to cost more resources. You'll be keeping the defendants in jail for too long and all of these things. We should just get on straight with this trial. There is no need for delayed tactics being employed from their own admission by the prosecution. So they're saying it's of no good reason that the state is asking for a change of venue of this prosecution. So we're waiting to get more information, Haji.
So we have heard of two defeats so far in this trial. One, the prosecution asked for the change of venue and they were slapped in their faces.
No, it has not been granted yet.
Yeah, but there is a slap because it has not been granted. And two, the defendant, asked for further examination of the body and it was denied also. So
yeah.
it's
Examination and the revisitation of the crime scene. So those two appeals were denied by the judge.
So it's a complete slap in the faces of the prosecution and the defendant.
So we're waiting to see or to hear what will be the final ruling by the judge because they're still arguing. That's their reason. That is one of their reasons, according to the defense counsel, that's going to be a waste of resources because now the state will have to transport people, witnesses. The defense will have to transport witnesses to wherever new venue that will be selected if this motion is granted. You have to house people, you have to travel back and forth, you have to transport the detainees, and all of these things they've termed as a waste of resources, and that is a delayed tactic by the government, by the prosecution to keep Councillor Musu Scott and the three other co-defendants behind bars for no reason. Earlier, as Haji rightly put it, the defense were denied an appeal for the revisitation of the crime scene as well as for an autopsy to be carried out, to be redone on the remains of the late Cllr Musu as well. So we'll be bringing you real-time information. Spoon Network, we here at the grounds of the Temple of Justice, following closely this land. She was then the assistant justice minister. She was then chief justice of the Republic of Nigeria. She served as the head of the Constitution Review Commission. She served as assistant minister at the Ministry of Public Works. She's been in and around the executive. She's been at the legislature, serving as senator of Maryland County from 2005 to 2012. She served in the executive. She served in the judiciary. She served in the legislature as well. So this is a landmark case.
A landmark case because we don't easily see this happening in the country, in our history, to see a former Chief Justice, the jailer, going to jail on charges relating to murder, and other related charges. So at Temple of Justice, right now she is in court along with three other defendants in the case involving the death of Cllr Musu. So the case is on and the trial is on, that is, and we expect our reporters situated there to feed us with more information as it relates to the case. And as soon as the information comes, and we will give it to you in real time. In real time, we will give it to you. But we want you to keep giving us reception report on our audio quality. We facing a little difficulties when it comes to the microphone. Yes, bear with us. It's all we have, so we will manage with what we have for now. So continue to send us a reception report on our audio quality. My name is Haji Masale. Damon Slanger is heading this team. Jurassic Joe is here. Our reporter in there, we cannot call his name, but he is among several other reporters stationed in there who are feeding us with more information. So when the information comes, well, we will give it to you in real time. Like we told you, 10 minutes each for the defense counsel and the prosecution to discuss. So we are talking about 20 to 30 minutes here. So we will continue this live from outside, and because it's prohibited to film in the courtroom, it's strictly prohibited. So that's why we cannot show you picture. Like some people were asking, why aren't we in the courtroom? It is prohibited. We cannot do that. And only few cases where both parties will have to agree and the judge grant that the case be filmed. So as it stands, we will be stationed outside here and give you all what it takes in relation to the case involving the former Chief Justice, this landmark case involving the former Chief Justice.
Trying to get more information. I just want to right from the grounds here of the Temple of Justice. Just on my shoulder, those of you who are into filmmaking and all of that, USS, on the shoulder shot. So right over my shoulder, I can stand there. This request for a televised trial that was the CPP framework document trial that involved the whole framework document issue. There was a motion filed for by the state, to allow for the live televising of that particular trial. But again, that wasn't granted to us, but we did our best to do what was unfolding in that case. Well, we're still wanting to get more information.
You say you are a bit low. Actually low.
All right, folks. We appreciate the fact that you keep giving us updates on the quality of the audio. Um, these things happen, and we're doing our best to make sure that we bring you not just video, but also good audio quality for you to be informed as to what is unfolding here at the grounds of the Temple of Justice, Criminal Court A, the Temple of Justice, Monrovia, Liberia. So please let us know that. Please let us know the quality of the audio. Just kindly keep letting us know the quality of the audio so that we can continue this podcast, this live broadcast here from the grounds of the Temple of Justice. My name is Diamond Slanger. I'm here with Haji Masale. We'll also be monitoring and listening to the audio quality as well to make sure that we bring you a very, very good, coverage from the grounds of the Temple of Justice. Okay, so yes, all right. So folks, will keep striving to give you more information concerning what is happening there in Criminal Court A. Okay, all right. So the argument is still going on. Once they conclude, we'll also be giving you reasons being stated by both sets of counsels, both the movements or the prosecution and the defendants. We will be telling you what is unfolding. We've told you that the defense already argued that it will be a waste of resources. It will be a waste of resources by changing the venue of this case as being prayed for by the movements or the prosecution. And they said that the government wants to keep these defendants in jail for no good reason. Hence, they're coming up with wanting to change venue, wanting to say, well, the case is going to be compromised by the public opinion, the perception of the public, the various thoughts and various reasons, how widely discussed this case is, not just by the electronic but the print media and social media as well. So this has affected the judgment of people based on this case and all of that. But we're waiting to hear what the prosecution is going to say in their argument. They've already stated their main reason for wanting to change this venue is the fact that this case has been blown out in the public spectrum, and everybody has got something to say about this case. So if jurors will be drawn, if people are drawn from the jury pool, pool of citizens to come serve as jurors on this case, they might be compromised. But the defense can also argue that look, this is about facts. This is about ironclad facts. This is about irrefutable facts. This is about making sure you provide evidence. You provide the facts to corroborate whatever it is you're saying. So if you bring the jurors and you're able to prove your case beyond reasonable doubt, then you can get a conviction. But if you're unable to prove your case beyond reasonable doubt, then we can get our clients acquitted as well. So whatever the prosecution's argument is, we're trying to get that information to you as well, and we're striving to do that. But what is currently ongoing is they've not gotten into the actual case. What they're doing is they're arguing now a motion that was prayed for by the prosecution, that is the movement, on the 25th of August. They filed their second motion for a change of venue. And when we started covering this case, as of the early days when the former Chief Justice and the three co-defendants were brought to court for their bail hearing, we also did talk about this issue of the prosecution who want to file for a motion of a change of venue. And true to that, that has happened, which is allowed for under our criminal procedure laws of Liberia. You can file for a change of venue. The defense, usually in this case, is always the one filing for a motion of a change of venue, because they feel that they're not going to be given a fair trial. The state is going to, people are going to lean on the state side and all of these things. But it can also be employed by the the prosecution as well. And we saw that in the case of Hans Williams in the Tyrone Brown murder trial. The state asked for a change of venue that was granted. We've seen it in so many other cases. So it's a remedy that is available not just to the defense, but also to the prosecution as well. So what we've been told from the court is the judge is now making his statement. So what we can tell you is both parties, that is both legal counsels, both set of legal teams, have made their arguments and have submitted to the judge, Judge Roosevelt Willie. So he's now making a statement. We will let you know whether or not that motion is going to be granted or denied by the judge of the criminal court A. And once that motion once the ruling is made into that motion, we'll know whether or not when the next due assigned date would be, or whether or not there will be a continuation, which most likely is not going to happen. Once the judge rules, there might be a reassignment. There might be reassignment, whether or not the party that loses in this motion hearing is going to file for an appeal. In that case, that is going to be either the prosecution or the defense. Then again, you have to schedule a date. Remember, the Supreme Court is closed until the 2nd of October. So if presumably, the judge rules and quashes this motion for a change of venue filed for by the prosecution, and the prosecution wants to take an exception, then they'll have to wait for the Supreme Court to reopen. And that again is the 2nd of October. So meaning there will be no other, hearing dates or no assignments until that can be heard. And again, that is going to be another huge delay, because you're looking at from now to the 2nd of October, though you say, okay, September is just in between on October, the Supreme Court. But again, we're talking about over a month plus of incarceration and a delay in the actual trial proceedings. So the judge is making a statement. He's making his ruling. We will be bringing you up to speed with what is happening, but kindly keep letting us know how good our audio quality is. So whether that motion will be granted or denied, we'll be finding out in a moment or so from now. In a couple of minutes, or maybe 10 to 15 minutes from now, we'll let you know, and we'll be live until this hearing comes to an end today. So stay with us wherever you are. This is the trial of the former Chief Justice of the Republic of Liberia, Councillor Gloria Musu Scott, and 3 other co-defendants, who were arrested, indicted, subsequently charged, arrested, indicted, and now they're on pre-trial detention for over 2 months at the Monrovia Central Prison. What we can tell you is, from our sources within the corrections, sector, that the former Chief Justice and the others, in fact, they separated. They separated. That's what we've been told. Again, we cannot confirm that. It comes from highly placed sources, but they separated, and she's being kept at the maximum security section or at the Monrovia Central Prison. We inquired how's the treatment level like, and we were told they've all been treated equally like any other prisoner or pre-trial detainee, and there is no preferential treatment. That doesn't amount to them being treated badly. Nope, we asked that question, and we didn't get any hint that they've been treated badly, they've been discriminated against, and all of that. In fact, they've been receiving visitors, including some high-profile visitors. Amongst that list, the standard bearer of the Unity Party also paid a visit. The chairman of the Unity Party also paid a visit. We were also told that the former Chief Justice as well, paid a visit at the Monrovia Central Prison, and she's been receiving some prominent figures to as a visitation people during the time she's been at the Monrovia Central Prison. So what will be the ruling in this motion filed? We'll be letting you know. So this issue of victories, Haji, it has been 1 for her, 2 for the state. On the 21st of June, she and her lawyers, after they have filed for the writ of habeas corpus, that writ was granted. I remember we covered that hearing as well. We saw the former Chief Justice and her supporters, the punch of victory when she was released and all of that. And it was only lived for 1 day. The next day, the government, through their lawyers, through the sheriff, went and had her arrested. But what really shocked many people was the fact that she was seated, her bags, everything were packed, and she was awaiting the arrival of the sheriffs. She knew that they would have come back for her. Mind you, this is a country where information is porous. Everybody's got somebody somewhere, and information can be accessed by people based on those they have, in those corridors as well. You cannot tell us here that the former Chief Justice doesn't still have people in the system who are sympathetic to her. So she was informed. According to her, she was called by the sheriffs that they were coming to have her arrested, and served her indictment, and she was waiting for them. When the sheriffs arrived to the LNP, all right. Okay. So again, we've been we've been talked into the corner, but they're doing their jobs as well as we're doing our jobs. So we have to respect each other and do what we have to do. Yeah. So they did a rendition of the Lone Star Forever. They sang the Liberian national anthem as well. Then they were brought here to the grounds of the Monrovia City Court. Right here, the Monrovia City Court is just right behind Haji. That's the Monrovia City Court there. They were then brought here where the indictment was read, and they were subsequently, taken to the Monrovia Central Prison. Our lawyers then filed for a bail bond. That was denied by the magistrates of the Monrovia City Court on the fact that her lawyers did not take the remedy of a pre-trial hearing into consideration. They didn't take that remedy that was available to them for the government to present their evidence to see whether or not there was prima facie to the case for it to move on to prosecution. The magistrate Bacon, when he was reading the ruling, also said that the issue of murder is way beyond the jurisdiction of the Monrovia City Court, so they cannot, interfere in what is way above them. They have no authority on concerning. They have no authority when it comes to murder, and hence they cannot, be party to granting of bail as well. So the case was then transferred to Criminal Court A. That was the first victory for the state in these trials. And then after they were taken to the Monrovia Central Prison, her lawyers again filed for a bail bond hearing, and that was done at Criminal Court A. Again, that was denied. So 2 counts of victory so far, if you want to put it that way, for the state, and hence since the 21st of June, the former Chief Justice and the 3 other co-defendants have been kept in pre-trial detention there at the Monrovia Central Prison. So let's see if we've gotten new information. So far, we've not gotten any new information. We, in our Liberian terms, so we're pressing for more information. We want to get more information for you. But just as description, the former Chief Justice is wearing a purplish African print dress, the same dress that she wore on the 20th of June when she and the 3 others were invited at the headquarters of the Liberian National Police, subsequently arrested and detained. That same dress that she's wearing, she's sporting a black hair tie. So the breaking news is the change of venue motion has been denied. That is the breaking news. So the change of venue motion has been denied by Judge Roosevelt Willie. So the state has lost this motion. They filed for a change of venue. That motion has been denied by the judge of Criminal Court A. So meaning the case is going to be heard here in Montserrado County.
So what do we know about change of venue? And what we're hearing from the reading of the law is that it is only the defendant that can pray the court for a change of venue, several reasons, not the prosecution. But it is not a surprise though for the prosecution to pray the court for a change of venue.
Yeah, so the prosecution can pray the court for a change of venue as well, Haji. We were speaking to a defense lawyer when that lawyer made that assertion as well. Everybody should be granted a fair trial. And fair trial is not only the state, that is always at an advantage. The state can also come at a disadvantage, in the fact that the state feels that the case is going to be jeopardized by public opinion. The state feels that the resources available to them to prosecute a case beyond reasonable doubt is not within that particular area or that jurisprudence, so they want to move to another place. The state feels that the lives of the jurors, is going to be at risk. So there are several factors that leads to a change of venue request. The defense as well can pray for a change of venue if the defense feels as if they are going to be threatened. Their witnesses are not going to be having some freedom to come and testify. They want to be at a place where they cannot be intimidated. So the change of venue, this whole idea of changing a venue is just simple, that you feel that the external pressures within that area is going to have an effect negatively on the case. So you feel if it's taken to another place, that is going to be reduced. But the argument here is, where in Liberia this case has not been discussed. That is the argument. Where in Liberia this case has not been discussed. And if you transfer the case, to another location, if it's not going to be discussed there as well, is there enough security presence as to where you want to take the case? Is the prison facility there, adequately protected enough for such a high-profile case, and all of these things? But the breaking news is the judge of Criminal Court A, Judge Roosevelt Willie, has denied the change of venue motion filed by the state. So the movement's request for a change of venue has been denied by the judge. So what next? What? No problem, Chief. So what next is we'll be getting the information. So the judge has ruled that the change of venue motion filed and prayed for by the state has been denied. So that is the breaking news here on the grounds of the Temple of Justice from Criminal Court A as to what's going to be happening next, whether they will continue with the hearing for today or the hearing has subsequently been adjourned. That is what we wanting to get from our sources within Criminal Court A, Haji.
Yeah, so we can see attendance of Criminal Court A are coming out, and meaning that the major argument in the case has been heard, and the breaking news is, as Damo put it, the prosecution has been denied change of venue as prayed for. So apparently there are other arguments ongoing, and as soon as our man stationed there, he will give us the details as to what is happening in the Criminal Court here at the Temple of Justice. But we are stationed outside here on the grounds of Temple of Justice, giving all the information we're getting from in the courthouse. So Damo Slanga is the head of this team. My name is Haji Masale. I'm also here. We got Jurassic Joe, our other cameraman, is also here. Then we got one person stationed in the court room giving us all the information, along with other people we talked to, other reporters we talked to feed us with more information. But the news coming in here said the prosecution has been denied their motion for a change of venue. So who knows? But that right is exclusive to the defense lawyers who may pray for a change of venue based on several reasons. So who knows? We might, hear a case where the defense is asking for a change of venue that may even, pop up too. But as it is, that that motion has been denied by the judge, Judge Roosevelt Willie, on the prosecution. So as soon as we get more information from the court, as we station outside here, well, we will be giving it to you real time.
Yeah, Haji, thank you again. So we'll remain posted here on the grounds of the Temple of Justice, as rightly stated by Haji Masale. to give you more information. But what we can tell you is the breaking news is the change of venue motion that was prayed for by the of Criminal Court A. So that motion has been denied, and we're waiting to see that the hearing will be adjourned to a later date, or they will now go into the hearing of the actual case. So that motion has been denied by the judge. So the case is going to be heard here in Montserrado County at Criminal Court A until, if the prosecution is going to say, okay, we accept the ruling, but we are going to file, for a ruling or an opinion from the Supreme Court of the Republic of Liberia, whether or not they are going to accept the ruling without filing for an appeal to the Supreme Court. That is what we're trying to gather, and if so, what next in this particular case as well, Haji. So we've had twists, we've had turns, we've had one victory for one party, a victory for the other party. But at the end of the day, if you want to weigh the victories so far being won, the state has won the most meaningful victories so far, in terms of the fact that the state won the whole bill hearing, issue, and they were denied bail, and they're still being kept. So we see calls being made by corrections officers, whether or not they're calling for the vehicle to be brought. We cannot say, we cannot speculate, but we want to see whether the hearing is done for today, and if so, when is the next assigned date as well. So Councillor Musu Scott and her lawyers, when they prayed for the writ of habeas corpus, they were granted that on the 21st of June. On the 20th of June, they were granted that, and she was released and went home, only to be arrested the next day and brought to court. The indictment read, taken to the Monrovia Central Prison, and they were denied bail bond on 2 occasions. So since that time, she's been kept in the confines of the Monrovia City, the Monrovia Central Prison, as we said, according to sources, at the maximum, security section of the Monrovia Central Prison. Today, the motion prayed for by the state for a change of venue has been denied. That is another victory to put in their cap. But again, that is not going to have them released from the confines or from the belly of the Monrovia Central Prison, Haji. It only means that this case is continuing here in Montserrado County until there is another legal remedy prayed for by the prosecution.
Yes, so the case will remain here in Monrovia, but in the event where an appeal is taken to the Supreme Court, I can see a little delay there until after the election. Let me straight into this.
So we're seeing one of our councillors, Councillor Gombo, but again, Haji, these are legal matters, and an assignment will have to be made, and both parties will have to be aware of the assignments. If the prosecution decides to take an exception and decides to, seek for an appeal or a remedy at the Supreme Court of Liberia, remember the Supreme Court is closed.
Yes, so meaning that case cannot be heard, and that if the Supreme Court reopens October 2nd, the Supreme Court will focus on election matter exclusively. Other cases may, rise, but the Supreme Court will be looking at cases, emerging from election matter, because remember, we don't have much time, going into the election. So the Supreme Court has clearly stated that they will be focusing on election cases.
So then again, that is a delay. If that remedy is sought for by the prosecution, that is going to be a delay, because then election matters are going to be heard from October up until to November, where if there is a runoff, you have to conduct a runoff, and after that, you have to, if there are any other, issues arising that needs legal remedy to be redressed by the Supreme Court, you have that again. So based on the fact of importance, in terms of importance, this case is going to then take the back burners, and it's going to be more days added to their days being kept in the confines of the Monrovia Central Prison. So that is why we heard the defense team saying that this is all a ploy, to waste resources and to keep the defendants behind bars for no good reason.
So why should the defense be saying that resources are being wasted when the state has all the resources.
The defense is also looking at their resources as well.
Okay,
Because
you are right.
if you take the case to another county, the defense will have to make their way there.
Yeah,
You know, you can't be going. Let's assume the case was taken to Sino. You wouldn't go to Sino every day. You know, you have to be stationed there during the time of the hearing, and all of that is resources. You have to transport your witnesses. You know, you have to house people. You have to transport your researchers,
Right.
and all that. And even the state, even though the state has got, you know, all of the resources, the state is also going to use those resources. So you can term it as a waste if it can be done here without, you know, having to put your hands deeper into the coffers of the state. You know, you can term it that way. So that is their reason of saying it's a waste of resources.
So the state will have all the resources and they will be in a position to travel to and from, you know, anywhere where this case will be assigned to. If they're Maryland, if they're Bomi or whatsoever, the case will be, I mean, the prosecution will be in the position, because they are the state, they will be in the position to go there and come from there at any time with our local flats also.
Yeah, so the breaking news is the judge of Criminal Court A, Judge Roosevelt Willie, has denied the motion prayed for by the state for a change of venue in the case involving the former Chief Justice, Councillor Gloria Musu and 3 others. So that motion has been denied, and we're waiting for the next information to filter in to us as to what next for today, whether this hearing is going to be continued today or the hearing, you know, is going to be adjourned to a later hearing as well. And so we'll be bringing you all of the information. So that motion has been denied by the judge of Criminal Court A, Judge Musu. So we are still trying to get more information. Still trying to get more information from Criminal Court A. So we are still trying to get more information from TV Live. My name is Thomas Liner. I'm here with Haji Masale and Jurassic Joe. Other stations there in Criminal A that are giving us with the information as well. Let's see what the next whether or not you know, is going to be a situation. The hearing and arguments are going to be actual case as well. So we'll give you the information, but keep letting us know the quality of the audio. As the audio quality fluctuates, please keep letting us know. We are doing our best to make sure we bring you uninterrupted coverage as well. So continue to hear all the grounds of the Temple of Justice and the case involving Liberia's former Chief Justice. Councillor Gloria Musu. So please keep letting us know the quality of the audio. We'll do our best to make sure that we bring you good audio quality as we hear from the grounds of the Temple of Justice. So we will be following, listening to the podcast as well to make sure that the audio quality is good. All right, so the sound quality is okay. Yeah, we are also monitoring the sound quality as well. So it's okay. Thank you for your feedbacks. We will continue to bring you updates from the grounds of the Temple of Justice. So the quality has returned. We'd love to tell you thank you as well. So folks, as we await the news from the court, Criminal Court A, let's see. So they are now reading the indictment. That is what we've been told. So since the motion for a change of venue of the prosecution has been denied, the they are now reading the indictment in open court. So the indictment is now being read in open court in criminal court A. So that is what is ongoing now within criminal court A on the grounds here of the Temple of Justice. So the indictment drawn against the former Chief Justice and the three other co-defendants is being read right now. That is what we've been informed about, by our sources within Criminal Court A. So we'll be giving you play-by-play description, real-time information as it filters in from within Criminal Court A. So that is what is unfolding here on the grounds of the Temple of Justice. The indictment is being read in open court. Whether or not the case is going to be adjourned, at what time it will be adjourned, whether after the reading of the indictment, we will be giving you the information. So, folks, the grounds of the Temple of Justice is well marshaled as well. The police officers, they've somewhat kind of made their presence not to be so much felt, but they are around. We see them sitting in pockets. We have two officers there. Their riot shields also positioned as well. So Haji, as you were saying earlier, this morning when we arrived here, we were getting mixed information as to which entrance will be used to bring in the former Chief Justice and her three other co-defendants. There were speculations that they were going to use the basement, the entrance from Central, that's the headquarters of the Liberian National Police, would have been used. There were speculations that they were going to use the main entrance. So we had to spread ourselves about to be able to bring our people the image once it's happening. And from all of what we've been seeing since we've been coming here on the grounds of the Temple of Justice, the former Chief Justice and the three other co-defendants have not been snuck in any way. They've been brought in openly. They've been brought in openly right here at this entrance. When they were at the Monrovia City Court, it was at this entrance that they used. And even now that the case has been turned and transferred to Criminal Court A, this is her second time appearing at Criminal Court A. The first time was for her bond hearing, and that again, that was denied. And now she's here for the actual trial as well. And again, they used the main entrance. So again, all of those speculations that probably they would have been snuck in to avoid the public spectacle and all of that, the government has spared none of those expenses. They've been brought in like any other person who's accused of a crime would have been brought in. Even though this is a case that has got huge national interest, the state has said we will treat you like any other person. We're not going to shield you from the public. We are going to bring you in, and everybody's going to see what is happening. So we remain here, we remain posted, trying to get you more information. I turn over to Haji for a bit, to get more information for you. But before I turn over to Haji, the breaking news here is the state's motion for a change of venue has been denied by the judge of Criminal Court A, Judge Roosevelt Willie. So the hearing is going to take place here in Montserrado County at Criminal Court A. Until any other further remedy sought for by the prosecution, this is how it is going to be. Hence, they are now reading the indictment in open court, Haji.
And that breaking news came in minutes ago from our reporters stationed in the courtroom, along with other reporters. They are feeding us with the information. And as we told you earlier, we spread ourselves out, assuming that the former Chief Justice will have come from the basement, but she came through the main entrance. But we began to laugh immediately when we saw her entering from the main entrance. That's how steadfast we are. So we are prepared, ready to give you all the bits and pieces emerging from the courtroom and on the grounds here at the Temple of Justice. My name is Haji Masale. I'm here alongside Damon Slanger, who is the lead of this team, and Jurasi Joe, who also is here. Then our reporter station in the courtroom. So we'll give you pictures from the Supreme Court ground, and you can see Um, People are moving about, going to the courts, going to just a normal business going about. But we are here to give you the information, and the information coming in is that the prosecution has been denied the motion to change the venue of this case. So who knows? And 10 minutes each were given to the two sides for their argument. So the argument is ongoing. We will get more information on the development of the argument, what the two sides are putting forward, what are they saying, what are those reasonable argument are they putting forth, then what is the judgment of the judge there in court. So we will tell you everything as it relates to this hearing. So just keep watching Spoon TV. As always, it's a bit breezy here, so that's why we are facing problem with the microphone. The breeze is huge coming because we are not far from the executive mansion, not far from the Atlantic Ocean. So you will see the you experience heavy breeze, especially on this roof where we are. You experience a little bit of breeze, but the breeze is heavy, so that's why we are facing problem with the microphone. The breeze is more than I can say our forces on the microphone. But howbeit, we still getting information from inside. So any minutes from now, Damo will come back and tell you what are they saying from inside, what we are hearing from inside the court. What we are hearing from inside the court, we will be giving it to you in real time. Spoon TV always dishing out Liberia best, and we are here on the grounds of Capitol building. Remember, we break the news before others follow. It is nothing about bragging. It's what we do on a regular basis. Not just everywhere, but we dish out Liberia's best. So earlier we saw some prosecution lawyers coming in, going back into the court. We were kind of contemplating as to whether the case was adjourned, but no, the case is not yet adjourned. The case is still ongoing, and the two sides are presenting their argument. Whatever it is, the judge will come down with a judgment, not a final ruling, but a judgment to conclude the matter for the day. Then Gloria Musu, the councillor, former Chief Justice, will be going back to her maximum prison, and the next assignment will be communicated to the two parties, and whatever the date will be, whatever date the judge comes up with will also be communicated, and we will inform you, and we will be here, and our reporter will be stationed in the courtroom to give us all the information we need in relation to this case. But as it is, we saw the Chief Justice Sane Yo just arrived about an hour ago, and she made sure that this place was clear of people who are not here for serious business to leave, and certainly they left. And so you can see people moving to the court, coming out of court, and doing other basic things. But this place was actually crowded with people standing by. So we are still here, and you can see riot police also stationed and putting up a maximum security for this place. So as soon as the case is adjourned for today, we will give you a summary of how it started. Damon is good at that. We'll give you a summary of how the case started, where we are, and where we are heading.
So Haji Mazale has put me on the spot, but thank you again, Haji, for continuing the commentary. We're still getting information to share with you from within Criminal Court A. The indictment is still being read to open court, and as we said earlier, and even stated by Haji, the motion to have a change in the venue for this prosecution has been denied by the judge, Judge Roosevelt Willie. And earlier, the defense counsel was also dealt a blow when they appealed to the court, that the body of the late Cllr Musu, there should be an autopsy done on the body of the late Cllr Musu. That has been denied, as well as the revisitation of the crime scene. That has also been denied by the judge. So today, all you can say is denied and approved, denied and approved. So one party's denial is another party's, gain, in the fact that the state were granted that the defense will not revisit the crime scene, that the LNP is not going to revisit the crime scene to reconstruct the crime scene, to come up with their forensics as well, and that there will not be a second autopsy done on the body of the late Cllr Musu. That is a loss for the defense team, and that is a win for the prosecution as well. So today they've been trading places. Now the prosecution has been denied their motion for the venue to be changed, and the defense, in their argument, they've won that particular battle as well. But we still have a long way to go, Haji. They're still reading the indictment there in open court to the defendants. That is what is still ongoing. We've been told by our sources as well. After this, we'll see what next in this case. So this case, there was the fear that there would have been delays in the assignment and everything, but this is a high profile case, and even the government itself will want such a case to be adjudicated with in the fastest possible time. This is not one of the cases that you do, okay, we will not be able to find an assignment for you and all of that. So they've been able to quickly, since the resumption of court activities for the term of August, there were other cases on the docket as well. But when you talk about magnitude, Haji, when you talk about the scale of this case, is a very, very large case in terms of magnitude. We're talking about the personalities involved. One of such personalities is that of the former Chief Justice of the Republic of Liberia. This case has also gotten the attention of international media as well. Family members of the affected parties, especially the Musu and Scott families, they've been granted interviews on foreign networks as well. There's a lot of eyes. There are a lot of eyes on this particular case, not just locally but also internationally as well. We're talking about a former Chief Justice. This is news. Whichever part of the world you find yourself, this is news. If you're in a country and a former Chief Justice is being put on trial for murder along with 3 other co-defendants, this is actually big news. So now they have their right hands lifted, and while they are reading the indictment, so that is what is happening. So the former Chief Justice and the 3 other co-defendants, they have their right hands, lifted up, as you do in court, as you want to swear, if you've taken an oath or whatever, but they have their right hands lifted, and the indictment is being read to them in open court. So that is the latest information coming in from Criminal Court A. No, it's not the judge's ruling. It's the indictment. They're reading the indictment as to why the year, and all of that. What charges have been leveled against them. So the indictment is being read, and they have their right hands, each individual right hand, lifted up as the indictment is being read. That is what we have coming in from Criminal Court A. As to what is going to happen next, that is the question. So to take us back down memory lane, on the 22nd of February 2023, the home of the former Chief Justice, by her account, was broken into by an unknown assailant. Earlier reports filtered in put it to be an alleged armed robber or armed robbers. This was the third attempt on her home. She had reported two other attacks on her home. And what we heard from the LNP was they did not assign extra security details to the home of the Chief Justice because at the time she reported the first two incidences, all they did was to increase their number of patrol frequency in the area. That was a statement that came from the Liberia National Police. So as the information filtered in on the 23rd of February, we then got informed that one of the daughters of the former Chief Justice, who's now the late Cllr Musu, lost her life in that particular vicious attack. The former Chief Justice then moved from where she was temporarily and moved to her residence on 16th Street, if I got the actual street right, and she was then questioned by authorities, and there was so much sympathy. There were different theories, there were different conspiracy theories, there were different accounts that this could have been politically motivated. This could have been, an attack because of documents wanted and all of that, and there were statements made by political actors, including the chairman of the CDC, that said it was not the biological daughter and that the former Chief Justice knows what happened in the home. And after those statements were made, we saw the police spring into action as well. We also did see statements being made by Councillor Jerome Verdier, who also accused one Valitele. That again brought another twist in the still. Valitele and the Monrovia City Mayor were invited as persons of interest. They went to the LNP. Their round of questioning was done, and subsequently we've not heard anything concerning them. All of a sudden, 4 months later, the LNP then invited the former Chief Justice and the three other named, and they were arrested by authorities of the Liberia National Police on June 20 of this year. They spent the night there. On the 21st of June, they were released based on a writ that was filed, a writ of habeas corpus that was filed to the Monrovia City Court, and that was granted, and they were released and they went home. Then subsequently, the issue of the bail bond hearing was brought before the Monrovia City Court. They were denied bail because the court said that was way above their jurisdiction, and the defense did not take the issue of the pre-trial remedy. They did not take advantage of that, so the court couldn't have granted them bail. They were then taken to the Monrovia Central Prison, where they've been in remand pre-trial detention, if you want to call it that way, since the 21st of June 2023. So if you do your calculation, it has been over 2 months since the former Chief Justice and the three other co-defendants named within their indictment have been in the confines of the Monrovia City Prison. So these are the four defendants facing charges: Councillor Gloria Musu Scott, Gertrude Newton, Rebecca Ude Wisner, and Alice Johnson, all of the city of Monrovia. So those are the four defendants as well. So we remain posted here, folks. We're waiting to see what is going to happen next. We did see an array of legal luminaries forming part of the former Chief Justice's defense team. So just to give you those so far who've been spotted in and around her defense team, we'll give you a list so far, including the former Chief Justice, the former Associate Justice Kabina Njane. So on the reading of the motion for bail, we had the movements, that is the legal team representing Councillor Gloria Musu Scott and the three others. We had Councillor Francis Johnson Allison, Councillor Kabina Njane, the former Chief Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of Liberia, Councillor T. Nambadi Warner, Councillor Augustine C. Faya, Councillor Gerard G. Appeton, Councillor Judy Johnson Service, Councillor Emmanuel Wede Kekula, Anthony Dixon Arakanga, Anthony Fasia Harris, and others. For the respondents during the bail hearing, the bail was filed for by the former Chief Justice through her legal team, the three other co-defendants through their legal team. So they at the time were the movants. So for the respondents, which the government of Liberia at the time served as respondents, you had the Ministry of Justice being represented by state lawyers. You had Anthony J. Dexter Core, Councillor Bobby Livingstone, Councillor J. Adolphus Kanua Sr., Councillor Yanti Twan, who is the Solicitor General of the Republic of Liberia, and he's the lead counsel for the state in these matters. So those were just names that we've seen, forming part of this legal proceedings that is ongoing here involving the former Chief Justice of the Republic of Liberia. Still wanting to get you more information. Still here on a very, very much quiet grounds of the Temple of Justice. My name is Diamond Slanger. I'm here with Haji Masale and Jurassic Joe, and we're doing our best to make sure we continue to bring you real-time information as it unfolds. So what is happening is the indictment is being read to the defendants in open court. We've been informed that they have their right hands raised as the indictment is being read. Earlier, the state's motion for a change of prosecution venue was denied by the judge, Judge Roosevelt Willie, and the defense motion to have a new autopsy carried out and the reassessment, the revisitation of the crime scene was also denied by the judge. So today you can say the judge is denying. It's been double denial by the judge of Criminal Court A, Judge Roosevelt Willie.
So can we say that we are in the middle stage of this case? Yet we don't know, but presumably we are in the middle stage of this case because we are at a stage where there is no turning back and only going forward. Going forward will mean that a verdict will be given, and we don't know what the verdict will be. But as it is, the arguments still going on, giving reason why you say it is a murder and why it isn't a murder, why these people were not involved, and there are several reasons the defense counsel will have to argue about, and also the prosecution will have to argue about in relation to this murder case. But we have our reporter stationed in the courtroom. He's giving us all the information alongside all our reporters who we talk to feed us with information, while Damo Slanger is here leading the team and stationed outside here giving you the real-time information coming out of the court. So earlier, the court here was a bit crowded, but the Chief Justice came, Councillor Yo, and she made sure that the security clear of the place to make sure that nobody just stand freely. But it seems like when the guys forget about themselves, you see people standing. Usually this is a public area, and you see people coming to see what is happening. But we have several court rooms, stationed here. So any moment from now, this case will be adjourned, and we'll see the two parties coming outside. But the most real part is that you'll see the lawyers shaking hands, laughing, showing, talks at each other. It's all about friendship.
Yeah, Haji, law as it is a fraternity. Whether you like it or not, these lawyers are part of the same bar associations, whether on the county level, on the national level, they're part of the same National Bar Association. Many of them attended law school together. They were in the same class group or year group, if you want to put it that way. So apart from being in the court, they do enjoy other relationships. But when it comes to serving the well wishes of your clients, in making sure serving the interests of your clients, you have to put all of those relationships, whether you have a personal relationship with another counselor or not, you have to put all that aside. We just will keep updating our people as well. This is a criminal case, so it is beyond reasonable doubt. That is the justification for getting a verdict. It should be, the benchmark is, it should be beyond reasonable doubt. So you find out that a case can be brought to court, on the charges of murder, criminal conspiracy, and making of false statements to law enforcement, as we have these charges. But at the end of the day, all right. So we're getting more information. All right, so the case has been called for trial. So that is what is ongoing now. So the judge reliance on denying was based on the fact that the Supreme Court opinions based on Supreme Court opinions, that was what the judge used as a reliance to deny the state their motion for a change of venue. So that was denied, as we said, and the indictment is being read to the defendants. It's a bulky document. So they are told to they are to plead guilty or not guilty after the reading of the indictment. So after the reading of the indictment, they will then enter in their plea, whether they're pleading guilty or not guilty. So the indictment is a bulky document. It is outlined with occurrences, procedures and all of those things. Okay, on this so date X, Y, and Z, this happened. These counts against the defendants is a bulky document. So after that, they will enter in their plea, and the judge, the movement, that is the state, the prosecution accepted the result. That's the ruling of the judge, but they took an exception. So, but despite that, their exception was noted, and the clerk was called to call the case for trial. So all of the formalities are being done. I should tell you, all of the formalities are being done. And after the indictment is read, they are now going to enter in their plea. The former Chief Justice, Madam Gertrude Newton, Wisner, they all going to enter in their plea. Whether they are guilty or not guilty to the counts leveled against them. And what we also see happening actually is whether or not there's going to be a severance trial, or it's going to be whether or not going to be a severance trial, or it's going to be, a general where everybody will form part of it, like a group trial. Whether there's going to be a severance trial or a group trial, there is a legal term for that. I'm trying to place my head on it, but you can help with that in the comment section. If it is not a severance trial, then it's a class action. Yes, a class action. So whether it's going to be a severance trial, whether they say, okay, you know what, we want to stand trial separately. Yeah, we want to trial separately. So each defendant is now going to have a separate trial, or they're going to have a class action where everybody is going to be, covered by the same legal team, and whatever verdict is given against one person is going to be given against them all. That is what it is. The reason for this is if you have a severance trial actually, then you can go into plea bargains and plea deals with people, and you can turn former indictees into state witnesses and all of that. But if you have all of them having a group trial, that is a class action or a class trial, then you cannot have them testifying against each other. You cannot go and give a plea bargain because they're all facing the same charges, and they've all decided to be represented by the same legal team, and hence you cannot go in there and kick them out. So that is what we want to see as well, whether that is going to play out as well. But what we've been informed about is the indictment is being read, so the reading of the indictment is still ongoing. After the indictment has been read, then they will enter their plea. As well. So based on their plea, then we will know when the next court date will be. Because after that, the judge is probably almost likely going to adjourn the case to another year date. So we're waiting to get more information from our guys on Station Criminal Court A on the grounds of the Temple of Justice here in Monrovia.
Pin the camera.
us know. Please let us know so that we can do our best to make sure here on the grounds of justice. So, Mr. Sister, let us arrive on board the corrections bus. Corrections bus from the central prison. She's wearing a preparation African print dress. She's also wearing a corrections jacket. We have got the handcuffed as well. But once they entered the court, they were seated. But were then removed. So they spent over 2 months of incarceration in trial detention. So far, it's only trial detention at the Monrovia Central Prison. And the trial has been called to hearing. So the indictment is going to be read as well. So please let us know the quality of the audio because we try our best to monitoring information here on the grounds of the Temple of Justice. So we are testing the audio. We are testing the audio as we're getting reports that there is no sound. So yeah, so folks, we can confirm to you as well as per your comments that the audio was bad for a while, but we've been able to work on it. Our technical guys are working on it to make sure that we give you the best audio quality. So we will be monitoring and we will be doing the commentary as well. All right, folks. So as we work and continue to tweak and make sure our audio quality is the best for you, we will be giving you updates from the criminal code A here on the grounds of the Temple of Justice. We will be giving you all of the information as it filters in. The indictment is still being read to the defendants by the clerk of the court. So they have their right hands raised. The 4 defendants, according to the information that we're getting from within criminal code A, they have their right hands raised as the indictment is being read to them. So we want to see if we can continue to broadcast and make sure the audio quality is good. We are tweaking this and we'll do our best. But the breaking news is the government's motion, the prosecution's motion to have the venue changed. That motion has been denied by the judge. Judge Roosevelt Willie, using the Supreme Court opinion, has denied the prosecution their motion for a change of venue. So wherever it is, keep watching Spoon TV. Haji Masale, Jurassic Joe, Diamond Slanger, we're here along with a host of other reporters and affiliates who are giving us the information as it happens there in criminal court A. We are also relying on you, our viewers, as well, to keep letting us know the quality of the audio, as our technical guys will do their best to make sure that the audio quality is always top notch for you. More updates we're trying to get. This trial, the hearing today commenced at about 9:45 a.m. this morning. The defendants arrived at about 9:40 a.m. this morning. The case was called to the docket and called to order at about 10 a.m. this morning, and the first was a motion filed by the defense to have the body of the late Cllr Musu for a new round of autopsy to be conducted, and that was denied by the judge. They also filed for the crime scene to be revisited, and that was also denied by the judge. After that, the motion for the change of venue that was filed for by the prosecution was then read in open court. Each defense team was granted 10 minutes by the judge to argue their merits and their demerits as to why the motion should or shouldn't be granted. And at the end of those arguments, the Judge Roosevelt Willie, then denied the state's motion to have the venue changed. The state did accept the ruling from the judge, but with an exception, and the court noted that exception as well. The judge then asked that the case be called to trial, and the indictment that is currently being read, that process began. The indictment is a bulky document, and the defendants have their right hands raised as the indictment is being read. After the reading of the indictment, they are going to enter in their plea, whether guilty or not guilty, to the counts and charges leveled against them. After their plea has been entered into, we'll then know whether or not the case is going to be adjourned to a later date. Those are the updates coming to you live from the grounds of the Temple of Justice. So the police is still well represented, though they're sitting in pockets, and as we've been seeing on other occasions, you have them with their riot barricades in attentive mode and all of that. They're not doing all of that. There's been no disturbance or disturbances here at all. The police officers are more of in a relaxed mode, and what is happening in the court there. So aside the indictment that is being read, the police investigative report, is also being read in open court. That is what we are getting. So the indictment and the investigative report both being read, and after that, the defendants are going to enter in their plea, whether guilty or not guilty. So updates from the court this morning: the defense counsel's motion for an autopsy to be redone and for the crime scene to be revisited was denied by the judge. The movements, the state also prayed for the change of venue for the prosecution. 10 minutes were allotted to each of the defense teams. After that argument, the judge again denied that motion. So as it stands, the case is going to be heard here in Montserrado County, though the prosecution also put in some exceptions, though they accepted the result as well. That is the ruling from the judge. So let's keep interacting with our sources as we try to give you more information live from the grounds of the Temple of Justice. Criminal Court A is where all of the action is ongoing now in this landmark case. The Republic of Liberia against its former Chief Justice and 3 others, former prosecutor of the Ministry of Justice, former probate court judge, former Maryland County Senator, former head of the Constitution Review Committee, that is Councillor Gloria Musu Scott. So we'll see what new information we're getting. So they've pleaded, and their plea is not guilty. So the 4 defendants in this case, that is the former Chief Justice Gloria Musu Scott, Rebecca Ude Wisner, Gertrude Newton, and Alice Johnson. The 4 defendants have pleaded not guilty to all of the charges and counts leveled against them in the indictment. They have pleaded not guilty. So their plea entered. The plea that they've entered is not guilty. So this is the second breaking news here on the grounds of the Temple of Justice, in this case involving Liberia's former Chief Justice and 3 others. All of the defendants have entered in the plea of not guilty. To the charge of murder, not guilty. To the charge of criminal conspiracy, not guilty to the charge of making false statements to law enforcement officials. They've also entered the plea of not guilty. So on all of these crimes, they've pleaded not guilty. Those are their pleas they've entered. So not guilty, they've said, and this case is going to go to a full-scale trial. And the date for the trial commencement is also going to be announced later. But it's most likely that after they've entered their plea, that there is going to be an adjournment of this case today to a later date. So the first breaking news is both motions filed, one by the defense team to have the body and a new autopsy conducted on the mortal remains of the late Cllr Musu. That was denied. A revisitation of the crime scene, that was denied by the judge. The second denial from the judge was the motion for the change of venue for the prosecution. That was denied by the judge. The state had prayed that based on the magnitude of the public opinion in this case, the public interest, what has been said on the media, both print, electronic, and social media outlets, the state feels that this case is going to be compromised when it's prosecuted or the proceedings are carried out here in Montserrado County. The defense said it was going to be a waste of resources. It was just another ploy by the state and its representatives and their counselors to have the defendants kept in jail for a very long time without any good reason. After their 10 minutes of arguments, the judge then ruled and denied that motion. Then the case was then called to trial, where the indictment was read to the defendants with their right hands raised. They've entered the plea of not guilty. So we will keep you posted. I think I'm seeing the Solicitor General of the Republic of Liberia. Nope, that's not the Solicitor General. But the Solicitor General is the government's lead counsel on this particular case as well. So we'll be bringing you updates. The weather also is turning for the worse now. We're getting some drizzles of rain here on the grounds of the Temple of Justice on Capitol Hill. So Councillor Gloria Musu Scott and the three other co-defendants named within have entered the plea of not guilty to the count of murder. They've entered the plea not guilty to the count of criminal conspiracy. They've entered the plea not guilty to the crime of making false statements to law enforcement officials. They've entered the plea not guilty. So what next? We are waiting for updates from within Criminal Code A. So we are still striving to bring you more updates from within Criminal Code A. So we are still striving to bring you more updates. What we're getting is there seems to be some network connectivity issue within the court there. That was what information we just got. But our guys are trying their best to make sure they're giving us the real-time information. So we've been able to inform you as it is ongoing that the former Chief Justice and the three other co-defendants have entered the plea not guilty. They've also been in court with their right hands up as the indictment was read to them in open court, and the government's motion for a change of venue for the prosecution has also been denied. The defendant's motion for the new autopsy to be conducted and the revisitation of the crime scene have also been denied by the judge, Judge Roosevelt Willie. So let's wait, folks. We'll remain live. We will remain live until we see them exiting the court. We'll try our possible best to talk to some of the lawyers if they want to speak with us. We'll also give you when the new trial date will be set as well. and we'll keep you informed here on the grounds of the Temple of Justice. Yeah. So we apologize for the break-in commentary there, because we are trying to be in touch with our team there within the Criminal Code A, and we've been hinted that there is some issue of network connectivity within Criminal Code A, so they themselves are struggling to get information to us, but we'll be doing our best to bring you the information that we can gather. But so far what has unfolded is the former Chief Justice and the 3 other co-defendants they've entered the plea of not guilty to the 3 crimes leveled against them: murder, criminal conspiracy, and making false statements to law enforcement officials. So we'll keep trying our best. We'll keep trying our best to bring you the information. Bear with us. This is beyond our control. There's issue of network connectivity, and it started to rain as well. But we'll remain posted, folks. We will remain posted as we have been since this morning, since the arrival of the former Chief Justice and the 3 other co-defendants, with her in this case. Since they arrived today, we've been here, we've been live, and we'll be live until they exit and they're taken back to the Monrovia Central Prison. So my name is Diamond Slanger. I'm here with Haji Masale, Jurassic Joe as well. I'd love to say thanks to you guys so far for the feedbacks. Please keep letting us know the quality of the audio as well. So please keep letting us know the quality of the audio. So the other breaking news is jury selection has begun. So this case is going to be a jury trial. That was one of the reasons the state had prayed for a change of venue, because the state has said this case has been discussed publicly already. So if you go to pick a jury, there's a likelihood that jurors that will be picked might already have taken some, side based on what they've heard in the public, based on what they've heard on the radio, based on what they've heard from, or what they've read from the print media, based on what they've seen from social media. So jury selection has started. That is what we've been told, meaning this case is not going to be a bench trial, for which the defendants had the right to opt for a bench trial, meaning that the judge would have been the only one to listen to this particular case. But as it stands, it's going to be a jury trial, and they're going to be judged based on what jury of their peers, the jury is going to be of their peers, are going to deduce from this case. So now the jurors are going to be the ones to determine this particular case. And it plays in the hands of the defense team, Haji. Because now, to get a conviction for a criminal case, it must be beyond reasonable doubt. So if you have a jury, and wherein you have some jurors who have got doubts, then you have a hung jury. If you have a hung jury, you cannot get a verdict. You understand? So defense counsels always want a jury trial, because then they will pray, and they will prey on jurors. They want jurors to put themselves in the position. They want jurors to see that there are doubts. That is the main work of a defense counsel in a criminal case, especially a case that should be proven beyond reasonable doubt. You want to instill doubts in the minds of jurors. You want jurors to think, and second thing, you want the state not to have the jurors thinking that this was done beyond reasonable doubt. You want to instill doubt in the jurors. And that way, if you have the jury not coming up with a unanimous verdict, then you have a hung jury. If you have a hung jury, it's either going to be dismissed, the charges are going to be dismissed, or there's going to be a retrial, or there's going to be acquittal, or something of that sort. But defense counsels always want a jury trial in most of the cases, because now they are going to say, yes, we are not saying that Cllr didn't die, but how did she die? The state said she died from stabbing 9 times. Who stabbed her 9 times? Where is the murder weapon? How did the assailant enter? How did the assailant exit? Who were the witnesses? Who witnessed what? What can they give us that is not going to be circumstantial? What substantive evidence are they going to provide? The defense team is going to do their best again to instill doubt. It is the work of the prosecution to erase any of such doubts. So Haji, the ball has been placed in the center, as you said, and the match is about to begin. Provided if we don't have any sort of delays, any sort of other legal remedies being sought, and we go straight to this trial without injunctions and other things to prolong this particular trial. So the jury selection, again, is a process that both the prosecution and the defense counsels are involved with. You just don't go and select a jury behind the back of your other opposing counsel. So they are going to say, okay, juror 1, we want juror 1. Juror 2, no, we don't want juror 2. Juror 3, okay, we'll take this person. So it's a consensus process. The state just does not come up with jurors and place them on the bench. The defense counsel must also form part of the selection of the jurors as well. So now we've been informed that the jury selection process has begun. Haji, you might just get a call to be a juror.
Who knows? Yeah, so as you rather put it, the board have been censored. So all that has been happening was just a pre-trial, and like in football we say pre-season. So now we are into the mid-season. Until the end of the season, then we will determine who has won this match. So this is the trial now. We have entered into the trial, and what are we hearing will be a jury trial. So the both sides will have to convince the jurors on the bench as to what it is, and the jurors will come up with their examination. Then the judge will come down with a ruling in the case. But it's all good that we are getting all the information from the courtroom, and Damo is bringing it to you in real time and breaking it down in pieces, making you to understand how we started this whole thing, where we are now, and where we are heading.
Thank you, Haji. So, to the issue of selecting jurors, again, it's a very sensitive matter, and it's a matter that you must put a lot of experience into making sure the jurors that you agree to be on this trial, to sit on the bench. Now, what the defense counsel will want to do, and what the prosecution will also want to do, is they want to look for people who can put themselves in their shoes. So you have to look at the makeup of the jury. The defense will most likely want to have some older folks, mostly females, forming part of the jury, to try and play on them. This whole thing is about psychology. It's about making sure you are able to put your jurors at a spot that they can give a verdict that is going to favor your client. The state is also going to look for jurors who are going to not be sympathetic. They want to play on the fact that, okay, imagine if you raise a child and your child is taken from you in a sort of manner. We cannot have a type of country that based on your stature or whatever position that you served, meaning you are above the law. So you have to be on top of your game, aside providing evidence to your jury, because they are the ones going to come down with the verdict. In this case, the judge is only going to carry out the sentencing. So, whereas it is the jury that is going to come down with the verdict, it is the jury that's going to say, okay, based on all of the facts and circumstances provided to us, we, the jury, we, the members of this jury, have found defendants Gloria Musu Scott, Gertrude Newton, Rebecca Uda Wisner, and Alice Johnson guilty of the following counts. They are going to read out their verdicts count by count. On the count of murder, how do you find the defendants? The jury, the four men of the jury is going to say on the count of murder, will the jury have found them guilty or not guilty? On the count of criminal conspiracy, we, the jury, the four men is going to read out the verdict, whether guilty or not guilty. And on the count of making false statements to law enforcement, the foreman is going to read that as well. It's not just going to be one, reading. They are going to read it count by count. But we're still far from that particular point yet, Haji. We're still far from that point. We have reached to the point now that the case is going to trial. They're going to do jury selection. Both sets of the counsels are going to be, they're going to consent to the juror selected, and then we'll start the proceedings. So just continue. Let me get more updates, please.
So more updates will come from the court. Damon is making some rounds with the reporters in there alongside our own reporter in the Criminal Code A. As soon as the information comes, we will give it to you just as it's unfold. But as it is, we are here outside the Temple of Justice. Also the court on the grounds of the Temple of Justice. Damon is the lead for this team, and Jurasi is here. I'm here also behind the camera while Damon is on set, giving you all the information our reporter in there is sending out here. So we just been told that it is a jury trial, and that will take a longer time for a verdict to be made, but it will all be determined by the jurors on the bench, what they will read about the case, what they will hear, and based on the arguments from the two sides, and they will give their own decision as to what the case is. Then the judge himself will come down with a ruling in the case. So we also have passers-by. We have people here standing here on the grounds of the Supreme Court of Liberia. Damon has some new development.
So what we've gathered from a confidential source is that they are reshuffling those who were brought on as jurors, because what we've been informed by a source that is one of the lawyers is that they've noticed that those that have been brought on board as jurors, they've been somewhat planted. That's what they're saying. Again, jury selection. If you're not satisfied with a particular juror or with a number of jurors, you can have them removed. So they're saying they're not satisfied with those that were brought on as jurors, and hence there is a reshuffling of the jurors as well. Because at the end of the day, they are the ones that are going to come down with the verdict in this particular case. So let me go and get more info, and I will come back as well, Haji. So you'll see me info and beyond, but we're looking for the information.
Okay, so we can see Councillor Pierre Brown-Boo, veteran lawyer in Liberia. Yeah. Can you just tell what you observed in the court, Councillor Pierre Brown-Boo?
I observed that everything was done in accordance to the Constitution of Liberia, which I'm a signer, in accordance to the statutes and the laws that stand in this jurisdiction. So what they did now, they are right now choosing the jurors who will sit on the case. And they asked the court, they asked for change of venue, the prosecution, but it was denied. So now they doing for jurors, selecting jurors. So everything went on fine. I'm happy.
Okay, thank you.
There was no violation of the law. Irrespective, everyone was treated equally.
Okay. So how many jurors we talking about here?
A juror, you been going to a courthouse, you know, the 12 jurors and 3 alternate. So for 15.
About 15.
They didn't allow you to go inside.
No, we have people stationed there.
Okay, yes. Everything was nice. I was there.
That's why you spoke of how they call it, the defendant, the lawyer, they still a lawyer asked for change of venue. What came to your mind if you heard that prayer from the defendant lawyer? What came to your mind as a lawyer?
Nothing came to my mind because they're doing what they're supposed to do. It's up to the court to decide. And everywhere the people popular here, everywhere you go, your press people will follow it, right? Every county now got press people and people. So that's it.
For physical condition, how does Councillor Musu start look to you? She and the 3 other co-defendants.
Well, I'm not a doctor. I went to LU. I did pre-med and I didn't like that. I'm a politician. She looks okay. I went and I hugged her physical expression all right. In fact, when the clerk told them to raise her hand were up for almost, or I would say more than 30 minutes, and they pled not guilty. And one is presumed innocent until they bring you down guilty, and I see they want jury trial, so they up to the jury.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. So she has spoken as well, saying the councillor, the former Chief Justice, also looks strong, and in fact, she had her hand raised for the entirety of the reading of the indictment, and hence the jury selection is ongoing. In fact, they reselected. That's what we've been told by one of the members of the defense team, that they're not satisfied with the jurors that were brought, the 12 jurors and 3 alternating jurors as well. So they're going to do the reshuffling, the reselecting process, and the case is going to be heard here in Montserrado County, right there at Criminal Court A. After the government, that's the prosecution filed for a motion of change of venue that was denied as well. She said, from her eyewitness perspective, she's from the court, that all of the laws and all of the process and procedures, are being respectfully carried out there in court. So we're waiting to see what's the next step. We've been told that the defense team, they are going to grant us an interview once they exit the court as well. So all of our questions, there is a huge team of journalists here as well. Those who are also just watching and wanting to know what is unfolding. They also hear people here for different matters. But as I said, this is a case of national interest. And even if you're here for a different matter, you want to know and get a bit of information as to what is unfolding. We're talking about a former Chief Justice, the former head jailer, the former head prosecutor, the head of the judiciary, the head of all opinions. When the Supreme Court speaks, that opinion becomes law. She's now a subject to the gavel of Criminal Court A. She's now going to be judged by 12 jurors of her peer. And the game has just begun in this case. Every other thing, pre-trial remedies sought, they're now over with and about to get along with this trial. So folks, stick and stay with us as we continue to give you information from Criminal Court A here on the grounds of the Temple of Justice. This is the case involving the former Chief Justice of the Republic of Liberia, Councillor Gloria Musu Scott, and 3 other co-defendants in the guise of Gertrude Newton, Rebecca Ude Wisner, and Alice Johnson. They've all entered the plea of not guilty. On the crime of murder, they've entered their plea not guilty. On the crime of criminal conspiracy, they've entered their plea not guilty. On account of making false statements to law enforcement, they've entered the plea of not guilty as well. Haji Masale is here with us. Jurasi Ezra Prince Joe is also here with us. We have a host of other contributors. that are stationed in Criminal Court A, providing us with real-time information. So if you're just joining us, let's do a recap quickly. The 4 defendants arrived on the grounds of the Temple of Justice somewhat around 9:45 a.m. this morning. About 10 a.m. this morning, the first motion was heard. That is the defense motion to have a new autopsy done on the remains of the late Cllr Musu and the revisitation of the crime scene. Those 2 appeals were denied by the Judge Roosevelt Willie. And then they proceeded into the arguments for the motion filed for by the state for the change of venue of the prosecution. And each team was given 10 minutes to argue, Haji. And after their arguments, the judge, relying on the Supreme Court opinion, denied that particular motion, and hence the case will be heard here at the Criminal Court A, Temple of Justice. When we were making our analysis, Haji, we also mentioned the fact that there is nowhere in this country that this case has not been, in the public glare, that people are not talking about this case. So there is no way you can take the case from Monserrado and take it to Nimba, and you wouldn't have the press there in Nimba covering the case, or the press from Monserrado going to Nimba, because this is an unprecedented case. You have the influx of foreign media, not just the local media. This case, since this whole thing started on the 22nd of February, you've had the entire population discussing this. So there is no way you can say a part of the country has not been corrupted by this particular case, Haji. So again, that was denied, and hence we are going to have the trial here. There's another twist on the jury selection. As the defense has said, they've noticed, they feel that some of the jurors have been tampered with, that they've been brought in to come with a set mind, a tunnel vision. So instead, they are asking for the reselection of 5 of the jurors, 5 out of the 12, Haji. So meaning they're satisfied with 7, but they are dissatisfied with 5 of the jurors. So there's going to be a reshuffling of 5 of the 12 jurors and the 3 alternating jurors as well. So this is going to be a jury trial. And as a criminal case, Haji, it is supposed to be beyond reasonable doubt. To get a conviction, to get a guilty verdict, should be beyond reasonable doubt. And to arrive at reasonable doubt as a prosecution, you must present ironclad evidence. You must present, a narrative that is not going to be doubtful. And as a defense team, your job is to make sure to put holes, to bore holes in the state's case, to create the doubt in the minds of the jurors. Once you're able to create doubts, you cannot get a unanimous, verdict from the jury, and then you either have a hung jury or a mistrial or a not guilty verdict. So the game has just begun, and both sets of lawyers are now supposed to be on top of their game, their A game, into how to make their clients satisfied. Opening arguments are important because you need a strong opening argument. This is where people think and counter-think. This is more like a game of chess, Haji, because you have to preempt what your opponents are going to do. And if they do it, how are you going to counter? What evidence, what strategy are you going to employ, to make sure that your clients are given a not guilty verdict? And for the state, what strategy are they going to employ, to make sure that the jury comes down with a guilty verdict on all counts? In this case, you could get a guilty verdict on the murder or not. You could get a not guilty verdict on the criminal conspiracy, because to say someone or a group of people criminally conspired, how did the conspiracy occur? Was it before the murder or after the murder or during the murder? When did they conspire? You have to prove when the conspiracy occurred. And hence the state have said they made false statements, because to conspire, meaning you want to hide the truth as well. So based on that, they made false statements. Murder. How did the murder occur? Was it a weapon of opportunity that was provided? or it was a weapon that was taken along. When the victim was stabbed, what did they do? The police said they showed gross indifference to human life, meaning they made no attempt whatsoever to have preserved the life of Cllr Musu. According to the police, after she was stabbed, it took them a long time to do all sorts of things, to try to stage things. If they had taken her to the hospital, she could have survived. So how do you then come down to present your case and to argue a case that is going to be beyond reasonable doubt? It's easier said than done. You could get a guilty verdict on all three. You could get a guilty verdict on one and not guilty on two. You could get not guilty on all three charges. So this is far from being concluded. All that we've seen is both sets of counselors are now prepared to go into the trial period of this particular case.
So, Damo, this is not a political case where you may claim that pool open 1 minute before the term, so there is possibility of vote rigging or election rigging. This is a murder case, so to prove beyond all reasonable doubt that a murder has taken place, someone died in the process, but who is responsible to take someone or to hold someone responsible for a murder and defend it and show all reasonable doubt is kind of difficult to prove. That has been the discussion around town, whether in Monrovia, out of Monrovia, in the counties. That's what people have been discussing, that to prove a murder case is kind of difficult. So the burden lies on the prosecution, on the government, on the government of Liberia to prove beyond all reasonable doubt. Some of that proof will be scientific. Some will be maybe eyewitnesses. And who will produce the eyewitnesses? Are the occupants of the house? Are the eyewitnesses? So the government, how can the government produce eyewitnesses? How can the government, come up with evidence that is substantial enough to prove that is whether CCTV was mounted in the house? They can subpoena the recording of the CCTV, and there is lot the state needs to do in this particular case to prove a guilty verdict.
Yeah, Haji, you said it. The issue of witness credibility as well is also something that comes to play, because if you bring someone on as a witness, again, the state has got all of the resources available to deduce witnesses, credible witnesses. So as I said, this is a game of cat and mouse. This is a game of chess. This is a game of logic. This is a game of looking and exploiting weak points. Because if you bring somebody who's a witness, the defense is going to go as much as possible to discredit this witness. They will go into past records. They'll go into your life. They'll want to prove that this person is not credible. He or she either has been, influenced by something. If you made a previous statement, they are going to go after that previous statement to say, look, this person said X at this time. Now they're saying Y at this time. This tells you there's disparity in their statements, so they cannot be a credible witness. If you're talking about forensics, how forensically equipped are we in Liberia? Because then somebody will tell you, deduce DNA, deduce fingerprints, the crime scene. How contaminated is the crime scene? How preserved was the crime scene by the LNP? Because after this happened, people trooped in the house. So you have the contamination of the crime scene. Is the defense going to say, look, we cannot rely on the crime scene because people trooped in, this was done, after this, there were alterations made and all of these things. So it's a long haul case, Haji. It's not just going to be a fast track case, though they will have assignments and all of that, but there is going to be a lot of evidence. There's going to be a lot of claims and counterclaims. And at the end of the day, the most crucial part is proving this case beyond a reasonable doubt. That is what it is. Proving this case to 12 jurors beyond a reasonable doubt. You firstly have to identify who was the actual murderer in this case. The three of them hold the knife in turns and say, okay, I'll go and stab her once. I turn the knife over to you, go and stab her twice. You turn the knife over to me, I go and stab her. Who actually did the stabbing? Because right now, as it is, the three of them have been, charged with murder. But who is actually the murderer? And if this person is the murderer, or this person is now identified as the one who actually carried out the act, then the others are co-conspirators. So we have not seen that differentiation yet as to who is the actual murderer, or who has been pointed or pinned by the government, by the state actors, as the actual murderer. So all of this, all of these things are going to unfold as we go through the trial phase. So this trial has just begun. Again, it's far from over. We all are looking forward to seeing that it's going to be, a case that is going to be continuously heard with not so much delay, because again of the individual, one of the three individuals named is the former Chief Justice. One of the four individuals named, I should say, is the former Chief Justice. So name also carries a lot of weight. In this case, a lot of attention has been drawn on this particular case, Haji. So as we await, that's why you see a huge media presence here, because of one of the three persons named served at this very Supreme Court, was the highest gavel in the land of Liberia. And now she's subjected to the gavel of the Criminal Court A. So we'll keep you posted. We want to see if we can get more updates from the court. Let's see if we get more updates. All right. Yep. All right. So okay. That's just the same information being repeated. We said there's some network connectivity issue. So there's still the issue of the jury selection that is going on. There in Criminal Court A is actually the jury selection, the reselection, if you want to call it that way, or the reshuffling, because the defense team have got issues with 5 of the jurors that were selected. They're saying these 5 are showing signs and symptoms and indications of being tampered with. So they do not want those 5 on the juror bench. So there will be 12 jurors. There is no set criteria for sex to say, okay, 6 males, 6 females. It's not done like that. It's mixed. Again, the defense will also be looking for middle-aged to older folks to serve as jurors, because they want to put them in the same psyche of Councillor Gloria Musu's cat. That's what you want to do as a good defense lawyer. You want to prey on the jury. You want to put them in a sympathetic state. And that's the hallmark of a good state prosecutor as well. You want to put your jurors in a place that they themselves are going to not only look at the evidence provided them, but certain feelings within is going to play. Yeah. So this case, I'm looking forward to following this trial through its entirety, Haji. This is an interesting case, and we want to see the law at play in its fullest.
Yeah. So we will see as how it interplays, but right now we are stationed outside here while our reporter is in, and we are filtering some information from the Me Courthouse Damon is looking at. And any moment from now, Damon will be reading out some information as he gets them in from the court. We got our reporter there. We got other reporters stationed in and following the case from within and feeding us with all the information. So Damon is the lead here on this team. My name is Haji Masaleh. We have Jurassic Joe also behind the camera. So we are talking about murder here. It is not a small case. It is a landmark case, especially involving the former Chief Justice of the Republic of Liberia. So you will see the case taking center stage, many involving people, involving stakeholders. When we talk about stakeholders, the former Chief Justice was visited several times by highest up. We cannot call all their names, but we know the Student Bureau of Unity Party paid a visit there, and We heard the former Chief Justice also. So you will hear about names, big names, paying visits at the prison compound here in Monrovia because of the individuals involved in this case. So we all know that it is a murder case. So to prove that somebody has committed murder, you have to prove beyond all reasonable doubt. Beyond all reasonable doubt is what they will be looking at. It is the meat of this particular hearing or a trial to prove beyond all reasonable doubt that these four defendants have committed murder.
Yes, thank you, Haji. And that is the benchmark, as he said, beyond reasonable doubt, beyond all reasonable doubt. Reasonable doubt simply translates to any sane person, having any suspicion or any sort of counterclaims that this thing could have happened or it couldn't have happened, or your evidence didn't just convince somebody 100%, where they will say conclusively that, look, a sane person will say conclusively that, look, all of what you said to me is true, this happened based on your evidence, and we can say that this actually happened. And we're looking at the number 12. To have 12 persons conclude, jury deliberations sometimes based on the evidence provided, based on the eyewitnesses accounts, based on the scientific materials provided. Sometimes jury deliberations can take 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, dependent, but sometimes jury deliberations can take even days. That is where the jury is going to be sequestered. They are going to be put in a secluded place when they're deliberating for a very long period of time, because you don't want them corrupted from what they'll be hearing outside. They can seize your phone as well. They can tell you not to listen to radio. If the case of such a case of this magnitude, like we had in $100 million drug case, the jury, they were sequestered. They were kept in isolation, because again, these are humans. They are not legal practitioners like the judges. That is why people want to go for bench trial at times, and it's more risky if you go for a bench trial in a criminal case. Most of the criminal defense lawyers will always want a jury case, because for a bench trial, the judge is a professional. He's only going to look at what evidence is provided him and what arguments are made. But for a jury trial, they are not legal professionals. They rely on what you tell them, what you provide to them, and they also rely on human feelings as well. So you find that most defense lawyers, criminal defense lawyers, will always want a jury trial, unless their clients are going to take a plea, and then you don't need all of that. It's just from a plea strictly to sentencing and all of that. But if you want to have a case heard, then most defense lawyers, criminal defense lawyers, will always opt for a jury trial. And listen to what is happening in the country, Haji. This case has transcended beyond family relations. It's the case, as some people are discussing this case as the privileged against the underprivileged. Others are taking this as, okay, no matter what position you serve in this government, you are not untouchable. There are sentiments from different sides, and these sentiments are being played on. We heard the arguments from folks who support the former Chief Justice that, look, she cannot commit such. She invested time and energy into raising this girl. This thing is political. It couldn't have been her. Then we have those who are detractors of the former Chief Justice saying, look, you could be a former Chief Justice, you could still commit murder. You could be a former Chief Justice, you're still human. You can still do something and lie. You can still cover up. Gone are those days that people exercise power and authorities and allow cases to go free. There are those who are saying that, look, there have been other cases that occurred in this country and the government did practically nothing. Or because it's now a former Chief Justice and she's an opposition figure, so we see the government employing all of the means, all of the resources, and trying to come down at her. What about those other unsolved cases that the government played a laissez-faire attitude to? So the argument has spread all across, and there are different reasons and rationale and different thinkings as well. Based on all of these arguments, the state opted for a change of venue. But the question that the state, would need to tell us, though the ruling has been given, is that tell us which part of this country that this case has not affected. Everywhere in Liberia, this case is being spoken about. As we are doing this live podcast, it's being relayed in other counties across Liberia. This case has got serious national interest. So it's up to the lawyers from both sides to be on top of their game. Because after whatever number of days of hearing, whether 10, 20, 30, 40 days, whatever days of hearing, provided we don't have injunctions and delays and rescheduling and reassignments. This could be a fastly, deliberated case and well adjudicated case. But based on whatever the strategy is, it might be a long case. It might not just be a very long case as well. So let's see if we've gotten any updates from Criminal Court A. So far, we've not gotten anything. We're still pressing for information. We're still fishing for information. That is our purpose for being here, to provide you real-time information as it unfolds. So we see Councillor Bombo, one of the defense attorneys, one of the defense lawyers as well, walking by. But yeah, is it unusual for such a time? Because you're saying it's long. Is it unusual?
No, it's going. I told you everything going by the procedure. I'm a son of the Constitution. I started working Temple of Justice in 1969 as a kid. And I've been in the practice of law for over 41 years. And everything I just keep to observe as mother of the judiciary. And she's the vice president of the Association of Female Lawyers that have been fighting for the women's rights, children's rights, and the right of the rule of law as a Chief Justice. She was probation judge when my husband was Chief Justice. So nothing unusual there.
So what we've been gathering is the actual trial is commencing now. That the jury selection, they're waiting on the selected jurors, and then there will be witnesses and all.
Waiting on what? Y'all who want be, they got something. Other places they got legal journalists. Now you're supposed to have all your law book, the civil procedure, criminal procedure to know. Right now, you say when I came, I said to you they were selecting the jurors.
Yes.
When I left. That were the first three, the prosecution first were asking them questions. And I'm impressed. I'm proud to be a member of the Black Gown aristocracy. And as the Chief Justice said, we're rebranding the judiciary. Yes, everything going on is not unusual.
I was just asking you because you said you've gone to eat and you back. So I was asking you whether or not
because of my age, I'm only on reasonable strength now. I passed the age the good old books gave me. So it was here at 8 o'clock. I had another case in civil law court and we came over 10 o'clock. So for many things I have to attend to nature. I came to eat, now I'm going back.
Okay, so thank you, ma'am. You've established to us that it is not unusual.
It's not unusual.
Yes, for such hearings to last for as long as they don't.
Yeah, I mean, it's normal. And in fact, you all should be coming to see what we're doing in the judiciary instead of just this case.
All right, man. Thank you. So we wanted her to establish. Yes, I know.
What's my name?
Councillor Boomer.
Councillor Boomer. That's what you say. Oh, you know, damn thing. Councillor Boomer. Signer of the 1986 Constitution of Liberia. Chairman of the Grievance and Ethics Committee. Former chairman that investigated unethical conduct of lawyers. And by virtue of that, Secretary to the Judicial Commission that investigated unethical practices of a social justice magistrate. So you have to learn people's names, man.
All right, ma'am. Apologies.
Right. In fact, I'm a politician.
All right. So she has added that to her portfolio as well. So we just wanted Councillor Per Brown Boo to give us, yeah.
Brown is the name of my father, who I'm proud because his father, Emma E. Brown, came on the Conconda 1869 from Georgia. Witnessed the inauguration of E.J. Roy and the move marched 9 miles to Broadway as the settlement of Broadway was established. And my grandfather met Lillian Baxter from the Day-Gola tribe, this tribe that was Peter, the Central Kenya in 1462. They said the original tribe they met was the Day-Gola and the Mama. So I one of those who came here, one of those who they met here.
You just celebrated your birthday.
Yes, man. How old?
Yeah.
You don't ask me
the age.
Because on one document, I might have one age for some purpose and all the other documents. But I can tell you, I graduated from high school when I was 60. I took and the early Scarborough Kino Kaiti are duped. And so they say, but I'm 70, I'm going my 73rd year.
What does it mean for you? You
Oh,
stay
it
strong.
means that I'm very stay strong. The harder the wind, the stronger the tree. You see that I'm very strong and I'm proud of my age. Regrets I have a few because all the experiences I had, that's why I can live better. And I'm happy to be a role model for many years.
Thank you.
We have Councilor Prayer Brown.
Prayer Brown Boo.
So there you have it. So what we've been told our resources
It appears normal under the law because
earlier this morning, emotions that were there, aggravated, and it's
so all what it is, the execution is all one is on one is
exactly. You don't think I'm not sure.
that's the something that I like her. She's into spirit. So nothing wrong with that. She appears, in fact, she didn't lose. She appeared there with her feet and she will cry and she did nothing and she sat there in that. Like, put them over here or to put them with the snap. She looks good because of the law. Putting the law. The law comes before high go fast. The law, irrespective of person, she's call my name. And that's why I put hand on to my name. That's all I'm yeah, one on the state lawyer, yeah, one on the lead lawyer, but they will not talk till we pass. He one on the lead lawyer. Bossy all right.
Fabian, just a minute. I'm pleading with you just a minute as we read, just our microphone system. We just want to, what you say in your updates, very, very crucial to us. So we want to check the microphone quality. Fabian, here is a season reporter. She's a senior reporter as well. She's lending us her expertise. So we're working on the audio quality to make sure that we bring you the best audio
You know what happened?
as well. So just keep
Tomorrow when I'm so y'all can go. If you been there, right? Depends on how much evidence they have. The prosecution will talk.
Just 1 minute, please, as we work on this. So we testing our audio quality. All right, so it's good now. All right, folks. So we have Fabian Kuya, a very seasoned judicial reporter here in Liberia, senior judicial reporter for that matter. Fabian, you've been following this case at Criminal Court A since this morning, since the onset of these legal proceedings. What exactly transpired in Criminal Court A this morning, ma'am?
Well, when the case was slated for today's date to commence trial, earlier before that, prosecution did file a motion for change of venue. Initially, they filed a motion for change of venue and then withdrew that motion. So they came and refiled a change of venue motion before the court. And so that was argued before Criminal Court A, where Judge Roosevelt Willie denied that and they took an exception to the judge's ruling. And so immediately after that motion was denied, the case was called for hearing, where the clerk read the indictment to the defendants and they all pleaded not guilty to charges that were levied against them. So pleading not guilty to the charges levied against them means that the burden of proof rests on prosecution to prove their case beyond all reasonable doubt. And so right after the indictment was read, when they pleaded not guilty, there was jury selection being done in the court. And so prosecution proceeded in a way that brought
So the case is rescheduled for tomorrow. Let's talk about how much you got. How did she make
Solicitor General himself leading the prosecution. Solicitor General himself leading the prosecution.
We heard reports that some of the jurors there were objections by the defense. Some of the jurors as well. Of them, they did not want to be selected.
Well, the number isn't clear, but before the questions could start, one of the prosecution lawyers posed an identical question that was earlier being argued in court. And one of the things that they proffered was that they said the media had a large publicity about this important issue, and so that wouldn't give them the edge to have a free and fair trial unless they move out of Montserrat County. But then it was the same lawyer from prosecution, Councillor Bobby Livingstone, that even brought about the same question relating to the media as to whether they should tell how many papers or several local medias have read the story in. And so this irritated defense team and said, no, you cannot go back to the same question for which he was rejected for. And so they had to go back and forth with the judge at the one-day meeting. And after that, the judge came up and said the case had been scheduled for tomorrow. Because Judge Weisselberg really was actually basing on the jury law. And so as for being sequestrated, maybe a lot of people want to know what the word sequestrated is that when jurors are being selected, they usually go underground, especially for high-profile cases. They usually go underground, the basement of the building. And so, for you asking one of the prospective jurors as to whether they want to be sequestrated, defense lawyers saw that probably as something that they just couldn't understand. And so, based on the argument, as I said earlier in court, the judge suspended the matter, and tomorrow, trial will resume at Criminal Court A.
Thank you so much, Fabian.
Thank you.
All right, so that's Fabian. Very eloquent, well-spoken. She knows her stuff. Judicial reporter here in Liberia, a senior judicial reporter for that matter. So the case has been adjourned to tomorrow, 9:45 a.m. here, and we will be live following the case of the former Chief Justice, Councillor Gloria Musu Scott, and 3 others who have been indicted and charged on with the crimes of murder, criminal conspiracy, and making false statements to law enforcement officials. So the number of jurors, we did get insider information that the defense counsel had an issue with about 5, but we see some members of the defense counsel. Hello, Chief. How are you, sir?
Fine.
Would the defense be willing to speak with us, sir? On what transpired concerning some allegations of the defense having issues with some members of the jurors that were selected today.
There's nothing much of an issue now because that's what we call the selection of the jurors. That process has not been done. It was suspended. Will resume tomorrow morning, so that we can continue the process. But there was no issue about the kind of question to be asked the jurors. There was some disagreement from both sides, but then it was resolved. The judge maintained that the matter be heard tomorrow morning, so we'll be back tomorrow morning to proceed.
All right. Thank you. So that particular qualm there, coming from one of the defense lawyers, we're waiting now for the exiting of the 4 co-defendants, the former Chief Justice, Councillor Gloria Musu Scott, Yuda Wisner, Gertrude Newton, and Alice Johnson. They will return here tomorrow on the grounds of the Temple of Justice at about 9:45 a.m. for the recommencement of this particular trial. So we want to edge a bit closer. They're coming, so we'll get to this side, and they are about to exit. They are about to exit. I see the Solicitor General of the Republic of Liberia, Councillor Nyantin Twan, with the maroon tie that is flying. It's windy here, and we're waiting for the corrections bus to also arrive, and the former Chief Justice and the 3 other co-defendants are going to exit the building and make their way back to the Monrovia Central Prison. Spoon TV Live. So we see Councillor Charles Abdullahi, former Monserrado County attorney there, walking towards us. He's also part of the defense team. So her defense team has got a lot of lawyers. That's the Solicitor General of the Republic of Liberia, Councillor Yanti Twan. He is the lead counsel on this case, also exiting as well. So we are awaiting the arrival of the Councillor Per Brown Boo is still at the back, giving us more information.
To the press, you are one of the senior lawyer on the defense side of the state. Tell us how did they go in the courtroom? You just coming from there.
Yeah, all right.
Okay.
I will commence jury selection.
We were told that your motion for chief of venue was denied by the judge.
They filed it. I will.
Oh, you filed a motion. Okay, great. Sorry. So the jury selection is ongoing. How did it go? Was it completed?
You have to.
Thank you.
All right. So one of the defense lawyers there, Councillor Abdullahi, former Monserrado County Senator. That's not senator, but former Monserrado County attorney. So you can see the level of expertise, providing Councillor Musu Scott and her co-defendants the legal services as well. So we see family members and the rest, trying to make their way to get a glimpse of the former Chief Justice. They are going to get a glimpse at her as she's still in court. We're waiting for them to exit. So the issue of jury selection will continue tomorrow because there were questions that were deemed to have been inappropriate by the defense team. Now, those questions were asked by the prosecution, and hence it brought about an argument. And the defense team have said they feel some of the jurors have been tampered with, and they want the selection of the jury to be done tomorrow. So the judge has suspended. So the corrections bus is coming. That is their ride back to the Monrovia Central Prison. You see this bus throughout the trial period. It's coming back to take them to the Monrovia Central Prison. So we've been here since 9 a.m. this morning. Spoon TV Live bringing to you full coverage here of the case involving the former Chief Justice of the Republic of Liberia, Councillor Gloria Musu Scott, and 3 other co-defendants. So the bus is making its way. They will be returning tomorrow for the trial to resume at 9:45 a.m. So there you have it. Their ride is making its way, and how he's going to. All right, so. So the Bureau of Corrections bus is making its way to the main entrance here of the Temple of Justice, and they will be making their way back to the Monrovia Central Prison, where they've been incarcerated on pre-trial detention for over 2 months. The former Chief Justice family members are exiting. They've seen her, and these are family members who have gone to see the former Chief Justice just to get a glimpse at her before she boards this particular bus. So let's come closer. Haji Masale and Diamond Slanger, we here. This is where the will be exiting, and we are waiting for them to exit, and yeah, so we are awaiting their exit. Yeah. So, folks, at about 9:30, 9:35 this morning, they entered Criminal Court A, and they are about to exit Criminal Court A back to the Monrovia Central Prison. So they're about to make their way back to the Monrovia Central Prison on board this Bureau of Corrections bus. So all lenses are fixed, awaiting the former Chief Justice and the three other co-defendants. So as we await, they entered this morning handcuffed, with the exception of old lady Yuda Wisner, who, according to Councillor Per Brown Boo and others that we've spoken to, including Fabian Quia, old lady Yuda Wisner, because of her physical condition, her physical frailties, she was not handcuffed. But the former Chief Justice and the three others, including Alice Johnson and Gertrude Newton, were all handcuffed, and their cuffs were removed once they were seated in open court. So they are going to be handcuffed as they're making their way back, to heavy security presence as well. You see riot police wearing their riot gear, also leading the way before the former Chief Justice and the others can make their way back on board this Bureau of Corrections bus. So there is a heavy police presence as well, not just here, but other vantage points here on the grounds of the Temple of Justice. And we'll be back here tomorrow. For the continuation of this trial. So this is a landmark case. The former Chief Justice of the Republic of Liberia, Councillor Gloria Musu Scott, Gertrude Newton, old lady Rebecca Yuda Wisner, and Alice Johnson. So there is still security instructions being given by this corrections officer. And as we await, there is still some delay as they exit. And we're seeing movements. And they are exiting. They are exiting. And there is something amazing. As she's exiting, the officials of the court, they are all standing. Those who are sitting, they all have stood up as a sign of respect to the former Chief Justice. So she still commands a very large number of respect here. So there they are. You see Alice Johnson and Gertrude Newton. They have handcuffs on their hands. As you can see, their hands are cuffed. And there the former Chief Justice is, with cuff on her hand. And you see the cuff on her hand. That is old lady Yuda Wisner. See how she feels. Former Chief Justice, have you been treated fairly, ma'am? How's your condition at the Monrovia Central Prison, ma'am? And she's greeting her family and friends. There she is. She's all smiles. She's still trying to board the bus. There she is with the hair tie, with the corrections vest. That's jacket on her. And now they've made their way onto this bus, and they will be taken back to the Monrovia Central Prison. She did not answer questions as to how she's being treated, and
a course like her too. Just what she doing now, the law taking a course, and now your male man, big shots in government, other government. When something happen and you are alleged, you take the law, will take the course, they will put you in a bus, they will have you arrested, and if the crime is felonious, no bail, you must take the course, no party, and nobody must become your no trial.
So, folks, there you have it. Oh, okay. So, teary eyes, and the bus makes its way back to the Monrovia Central Prison to be back here tomorrow. All right, folks. Before we wrap up, let's just give you a recap of what happened here today on the grounds of the Temple of Justice. At about 9:45 a.m. this morning, the corrections bus with the former Chief Justice and 3 other co-defendants arrived here at Criminal Court A on the grounds of the Temple of Justice. Then they hearing into the motion for a new autopsy to be conducted and the revisitation of the crime scene was entertained by Judge Roosevelt Willie, and he denied that motion from the defense team. The prosecution then read their motion for the change of venue of the prosecution, and the judge denied that as well. So this trial is going to be staged here at Criminal Court A in Montserrado County. Jury selection was met with some sort of disagreement, and hence jury selection will commence on tomorrow, and this trial resumes at 9:45 a.m. tomorrow here at the Criminal Court A. My name is Diamond Slanger. I'm here with Haji Masale, Jurassic Joe, Chokon Flama, Aaron Kuban. It's a full house, and we'd love to tell you thank you so much for watching. We'll be back here on tomorrow. As to how she's been treated, the former Chief Justice did not issue any sort of statement, but her legal team and family members have said she's in high spirits. The only person who looks frail is old lady Ude Wisner. They are all wearing their corrections vest, their corrections jacket, if you want to call it that way, and we'll be back here on tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching, and bye-bye.